up, Woodward. We are starting off your day with a brand new crew. Meet Broder.
I can't control my arms sometimes. My limbs are just kind of flying.
Detroit Kool-Aid.
Fired up.
Y'all got Kool-Aid
I'm
hot.
fired up. But with the Wake Up Woodward crew, he's actually a part of the family.
Flannel Sam.
Ask me about my wiener. Okay.
Along with JB and KG. Wake Up Woodward gets you all of your Detroit sports talk. Every morning, 8 to 10 a.m. Live on Woodward Sports. A show for Detroit, by Detroit, with people from Detroit. Tell Siri to set an alarm. Because it's time to Wake Up Woodward.
What up, though, people? Welcome to Wake Up Woodward. We appreciate you all for kicking off the day with the WUW Crew. It's another week. Flannel Sam. That's a vet of the squad down there. Ball knower, puck knower, Red Wings correspondent, all sports knower. And it's your boy as well, Brandon Dan, a.k.a. Detroit Kool-Aid, your credential Pistons reporter and writer for the network. And we got things to talk about today, including NFC and the AFC championships. The Honolulu flu is real, Flannel Sam.
I mean, I'll get off the highway with you on that one, but it was a interesting weekend, I will say that, and a lot of people are not happy. Some people are. It's just Conference Championship Sunday is it's just special, man.
It's special and it's intriguing because I instantly saw everyone's mind, at least in Lions world, go to how the implications here, in the hindsight aspect, seeing how the Philadelphia Eagles were going to attack the Washington Commanders in that game. And let's just say that there's somebody who kind of popped back up as public enemy number one in Detroit sports.
You know what? I think more on that tomorrow. We got some things percolating behind the scenes,
Yes,
and
sir.
I think we will dive into that a little bit more.
Hey, you want to tell the people what we got on the schedule today?
Absolutely. I mean, to start the show, we obviously got to talk about what happened in the AFC and NFC championship games, because even though the Lions weren't there, I think most of us were watching, and it's at the forefront of everybody's mind. We're going to get into some Lions not head coaching news, but coaching news overall. We retained one. We promoted another. How do we feel about that? What are the implications? We got to talk about those Red Wings getting a big win on Saturday night. And you know what? If we got time, we might even have to discuss the Detroit Pistons. They did not win this weekend, but they're still above 500, and they're still worthy of being talked about.
They are, and there's some narratives there. There's some things there, and maybe some things that point towards really more or less the importance of a guy like Jaden Ivey and maybe the strategy at the trade deadline.
Yeah.
Because they might have to do something, man, of importance there. But right now, obviously, what's hot, the conference championship weekends, you guys already know the results, but just to break it down further, obviously, the Sam's Kansas City Chiefs, boy, 32-29 over the Buffalo Bills. Chiefs magic is real. It is alive and real. So now next year when we cover this thing and he continues to put them number one just because of Chiefs magic, you know what? I don't have too much pushback, man. And it just continues to play itself out. Whatever the recipe is, my goodness, bottle up and sell it.
Yeah, I mean, here's the reality. I know a lot of people are going to point to some questionable calls, and I understand that. I understand people are sick of the Kansas City Chiefs. I, for one, you know how I feel about Patrick Mahomes. You know how I feel about the Chiefs. I actually feel kind of bad for Josh Allen. It kind of felt like this year it was his time, but it just didn't work out that way. He's basically right now what we're watching in the AFC and even in the NFL is Patrick Mahomes is 90s Jordan, and everybody else is Patrick Ewing, Reggie Miller, Charles Barkley, et cetera, et cetera. And unfortunately,
that's a bar, bro.
I mean, unfortunately, even
and
though
I don't even want to admit it.
Go ahead.
I was going to say that they're like the USSR, and everyone else in the AFC is like the little countries that are just under their rule. It's like,
I mean, it's the same concept though, because they are just nice. They are just been that dominant. I mean, they're going to their 5th Super Bowl in the last 6 seasons. It was a heck of a game. It lived up to the quarterback battle, although there was a lot outside of quarterback play that really decided this game. But when you look at this Chiefs team, imagine if they actually finish off the 3-peat. You could be talking about them as one of the greatest sports dynasties ever. 4 in 6 years. Right now, it's their 5th appearance in 6 years. Just Patrick Mahomes might get his 4th Super Bowl MVP, has the best numbers in playoff history, 43 career playoff touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 106 passer rating. Go ahead.
You have to just call it the greatest. I know what you're doing. I know, and I get it, because you don't want to say something, and our audience is like, "Oh, there go Flannel." If they get 4 in 6 years, what is it, Flannel? Say it.
Say it.
You can say it.
I have no problem at calling the greatest sports dynasty, but I also give my respect to like the '90s Bulls and whatnot,
It's
or
the
like
NFL, bro.
I know. Obviously, you can go back to like the Bill Russell Celtics, but it was a different time back then. The Gretzky, Messier, Edmonton. I mean, there's a lot of them. The Spurs and the Patriots were more elongated, but they didn't have the short window greatness like this Kansas City Chiefs dynasty has. And don't get me wrong, they still have to finish the job. But even without finishing the job, just how dominant they've been, how right now you look at. Obviously, we all know Patrick Mahomes didn't have his best regular season. The Chiefs' offense didn't have their best regular season, but they always did enough to win. Obviously, they benefited from some things like a defense, like some devil magic, like some very timely choking on the part of opponents. But the reality is at this point, Patrick Mahomes has no peers. He has no rivals in terms of regular season greatness and postseason accomplishment / greatness. There is an Atlantic Ocean gap between Patrick Mahomes and 2 right now. There just is. And trust me, I don't put a lot of blame on Josh Allen for what happened. I think he's been, for the most part, an excellent playoff quarterback. But unfortunately, if you're the Bills, you've ran into a quarterback that's a little bit better. They've ran into a head coach that's certainly better, Andy Reid, Sean McDermott. I mean, just look at one of the greatest symbolic things that happened, both to the Buffalo Bills and to the Baltimore Ravens. Think about this. Of course, when you talk about the Kansas City Chiefs, you obviously have to talk about Travis Kelce, because Travis Kelce is one of the greatest to ever do it at the tight end position. In my opinion, number 1. When it comes to postseason numbers, it's Travis Kelce and Jerry Rice. They're 1, 2, however you want to order them. Kelce has Rice in receptions. Rice has Kelce in yards and touchdowns. Travis Kelce didn't have his best game, but he has been just an all-time great playoff elevator. Who ultimately sold for the Baltimore Ravens and for the Buffalo Bills when each of them had a chance to win the game? Their respective tight ends. You saw Dalton Kincaid drop that pass. You saw Mark Andrews drop what would have been the game-tying 2-point conversion. It's just it's a lot of really nut-punching symbolism if you're not a Kansas City Chiefs fan.
Yeah, and you know what, man? Just kind of looking at the way that they do things. And looking at the way that these playoffs has gone, especially when you look at the Philadelphia Eagles and the Washington Commanders, it's made me actually more and more bullish about these Detroit Lions. And I know we're going to get more into that, but JB Smooth, you had your hand raised up over there. Woodward Sports MVP in the TD booth. JB Smooth, what up, though, brother?
Man, last night, I think the Bills were like people's last hope for a Super Bowl that, they at least wanted to watch a little bit more than KC as well, too. And I'm sorry for Josh Allen, because now he goes down in history as the first QB to lose 4 playoff starts against Patrick Mahomes. He made history last night, and it's just sad to see him go out like this in a playoff. And
that's what I'm saying. It's not like Patrick Mahomes is beating, like, upstart teams. He's beating some of the best quarterbacks, some of the best players, and some of the better teams of this era. It's just like, man, oh man, this is a special run that they're on. And as difficult as we see it as Lions fans as it is to punch the ticket there, that's where it's just like, no, I gotta call it what it is. This team is on a level of greatness. If they win this 4th one in 6 years, that I do believe just pushes them over the edge of those Chicago Bulls, because Chicago Bulls were aided by some rule changes. They were aided by some things. But sure, that's a whole nother conversation. Philadelphia Eagles, Washington Commanders. This was a game that was of interest to some people here in this area, obviously so. But especially here, it was interesting to see over 13,000 people tuned in to the watch party that Neil and Stick had here for that game. And there were some Eagles fans that said, thank you guys for putting us on. And when you see the game, 55-23, this was an absolute bludgeoning. And some of the things that people did say, including myself, about Jaden Daniels, it didn't look as special this week against the Eagles as it did against the Detroit Lions.
It didn't, but okay. That's where I have to get off the highway with you guys on that one, because
JB cooked that one up.
Because let me just say this, just to defend Jaden Daniels for a second.
Yeah.
It's a lot different going up against a Philadelphia Eagles fully healthy defense than the Detroit Lions decimated one. The Eagles defensive line played great. You saw the impact that guys like Jordan Davis and Nolan Smith and Jalen Carter were making. You saw Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean have good games. Shout out to Howie Roseman, by the way, for his draft acumen. And just think about this, guys, and I know that there are going to be some shows on this network, PDE, that are going to act like Jaden Daniels choked. Let's remember this. Before that interception that he threw when they were already down big, Washington had 3 lost fumbles. None of them were Jaden Daniels, and the Eagles converted every single one of them into touchdowns. Every single one of them. Like, they were literally -4 in the turnover department, the Commanders, and the Eagles scored 28 points off of them, the most that they could possibly do. You can't win anything that way. Nothing.
And that's why I said I actually came away a little bit more bullish about this thing when you saw the game plan and what the Lions probably would have done if they could have ran that game back in terms of maybe getting Gibbs to at least 20 carries instead of just 20 touches for that game. And then it's the story of it. That's what I had keyed up here as well. It's the turnovers. What crushed the Detroit Lions more than anything? It was those turnovers. What crushed how special this Commanders team has looked? What's been one of their calling cards? What's been one of their hallmarks is that Jaden Daniels really plays clean, very, very accurate. It's tough to make this team turn the ball over. But in this game, they had 4 of them. 3 lost fumbles, like you said, and then the one interception by Jaden Daniels when obviously things are already kind of the story's been written. And so, seeing this, though, that was my first thought, and I want to just kind of get yours as well, just coming away from this thing. And obviously, I know yours already. It's the health of this team. That was what I was trying to throw it aloud to you in the beginning of that segment, and then JB put up the potential fraud. I got to say, it got a chuckle out of me. But overall, when I look at how this Detroit Lions team is structured, obviously they got a lot of work to do while this NFL season is still wrapping up. I actually came away a little bit more bullish about this team, especially if they get healthy. You're talking about Hutchinson, you're talking about Aleem, you're talking about Jahmyr Gibbs going into the season knowing he's the star. I'm bullish about the Lions.
I mean, obviously injuries played a big factor in the Lions ultimate downfall in terms of playoff wise. However, and I've said it before and I'll say it again just so people don't think I'm making excuses. I do believe that the injuries hampered the Lions. I don't think they were going to win. I think they had ultimately lost too much to win the Super Bowl. But as I've always said, that doesn't mean that you can lose to the Commanders and go -5 in the turnover department. So ultimately, I don't think they would have won the Super Bowl. Ultimately, I have my doubts of whether they were going to beat the Eagles or not. But you would have had that game at home, and you got to give yourself a chance, and they didn't do it.
Yeah. And for me, that's where I do believe that thing came down to the turnovers. Even looking at Brian Baldinger and his replay of Mikey Sammerstill in the interception in the end zone, that was just so horribly placed. You know what was just kind of haunts me? Is the picture of, I believe, Taylor Decker in the background of one of the ankles with his hands up like this, because it looked like it was supposed to be a touchdown. Yeah. And when I saw the interception, I was like, yo, hell of a play, Sammerstill. Still is a heck of a play. But you saw Jared Goff left that ball very, very, very short. J-Mo, if you just put it out just in front of him, that mug is a touchdown.
Do you know what that play kind of reminded me of? Not to get into that game too much anymore because it still hurts me, but remember that play in the Texans game where it looked like C.J. Stroud had Tank Dell so wide open to the point where the fans were like, throw him the ball. And then he kind of threw it late, lofted it a little bit, and Carlton Davis was able to run underneath it. I know it's a little bit different, but the point is that I agree. If I'm Taylor Decker, obviously it looks kind of stupid now, but from his angle, even when J-Mo and Sanders still came into the picture, I'm like, that's a touchdown. But it wasn't. It was the exact same thing where you have to look at the defense making a great play, but also maybe the respective quarterbacks, Jared Goff and C.J. Stroud, getting a little bit lackadaisical.
Hey, well, you know what, guys? There's something pretty interesting here, right? Shout out to our brother KG. That's Detroit's #1 draft pick. Some big news broke, and he hasn't been here.
Oh, that's right.
Do you guys see that? Do you guys see how ironic that is? Weird. We got to get into this, man. Big Detroit Lions news broke. It shades the way that I was hoping. Kelvin Sheppard has been named the defensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions. You know what's really cool we know that for the last couple of years of covering this team, Kelvin Sheppard has been one of those guys that has just supported Woodward Sports. He continues to go in and like stuff. We've seen him go in and comment on things, and it was cool to see him as soon as a news broke, even before some of the other beat reporters out there could confirm it. He had gone and shared the Woodward Sports breaking news post and said he's ready to get to work. We got to talk about it, man.
Yeah,
I know I like the move, but chat family, let me know if you do, because I know some people wanted it to be something that they worked out outside of the organization.
Well, I mean, let's talk about it, because there are different angles to look at it, but hopefully by the end of this segment, if anybody have any trepidations about Kelvin Sheppard, hopefully you feel just a little bit better, because that wasn't my first choice either, but once you dive into it, stay tuned. But first, tell us about 1800 Tequila.
1800, the official tequila of Woodward Sports Lions watch parties and post-game show. Join 1800 in Woodward Sports every Lions game live at Hayes Social in Shelby Township and celebrate the smooth 1800 tequila. Proud sponsor of your Detroit Lions. 1800 Tequila, the best taste in tequila. Drink responsibly.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men today. Open 7 days a week. Sit back, relax, and enjoy precision haircut, scalp massage, hot leather neck shave, and hot towel treatment from one of our talented stylists. Step up your game this season and take advantage of our $20 haircut special. Scan the QR code and get your coupon today. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, the ultimate haircut experience. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins always welcome. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer, is kicking off the game with the best prices on all cars, trucks, and SUVs, like this 2024 Silverado for just $296 a month, or this 2025 Equinox for as low as $371 a month. Our locations in Novi, Highland, New Hudson, Livonia, and Lansing means we have the perfect Chevy right in your backyard. Get the home team advantage every day at Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer.
A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports.
New year, new you. How about a new car? Les Stanford Buick GMC is here for you. Get a 2025 Hummer EV SUT for 24 months with 10,000 miles a year for only $699 per month, just a $1,999 down payment, or a 2025 GMC Sierra 1500 Crew Cab, 24 months with 10,000 miles a year for only $359 per month. Sign and drive, no down payment required, GM discount required for both. Get to Les Stanford today or click on the QR code on the screen and check out our massive inventory. Les Stanford Buick at GMC, LesStanford.com.
Hey, what up, though, people? Welcome back. It is Wake Up Woodward. Chat family, as always, you all are the most important part of the WUW Crew. Go ahead and smash the like button to support. It's a new week, man. Let's start it off right. And you know what? The Detroit Lions, they had some news over the weekend. Kelvin Sheppard is now the team's new defensive coordinator. This is something that, as it relates to when we knew Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson for the last couple years were going to be coordinators that probably wouldn't be here too long, Kelvin Sheppard is one of the guys whose names kept coming up as a potential replacement, and we knew he was being groomed for the position just in case, and he came away with the job. It was interesting to see that there was some other rumors and noise out there about them potentially interviewing Larry Foote and such. But Kelvin Sheppard is the guy. And it was cool to see a lot of the LSU faithful, where he played his college ball, coming out of the woodworks, man. There were so many people, both that he played with in the NFL, people that he played with at LSU, people that he played against, both in the NFL and college, and fans everywhere that were like just hailing this hire and decision by the Detroit Lions. And Flando, I got to ask you, I love this. I'm 100% for this. Where are you at? Because I know that there's names out there. There were names out there like Robert Saleh and others. Where are you at right now?
I'm happy. And my happiness came with a little bit more of time to breathe and just doing a little bit more research, because it wasn't my first choice. My first choice was Robert Saleh. He went back to his old team, the San Francisco 49ers, to become their defensive coordinator. Then I names were floated around like Matt Eberflus and Dennis Allen, and I was certainly intrigued, but fuck Dennis Allen now. You're on the Bears. Shout out. Just gotta throw that out there. But Kelvin Sheppard, I like it for 2 reasons. Number one, just look how linebackers developed under him. The proof is in the pudding. It is absolutely undeniable. Kelvin Sheppard has been with the organization since 2021. I believe he was just the inside linebackers coach then, but since 2022, he has been the full-time linebackers coach. And just look how many players have absolutely blossomed. I'm not saying it's all Kelvin Sheppard, but I'm sure if you asked guys like Alex Anzalone and Derek Barnes and Rodrigo and Jack Campbell, they'd give credit to Kelvin Sheppard as well, because we all remember what Alex Anzalone was when he got here. Let's just call a spade a spade. He was terrible in 2021. I think he deserved some of the skepticism which we all gave him, myself included. But ever since then, in 2022, he was a little better. And then last year, he completely broke out, had the best season of his career, was a green dot guy that we could all count on. And this year, when he was healthy, I say he played the best ball of his life. Let's look at Jack Campbell. His first year, a little up and down, I would say more ups than down, but still, you saw what happened in his second year. He completely took that leap. He had over 130 tackles and was the 9th rated linebacker according to PFF. That's growth. That's development. Let's look at Malcolm Rodriguez. Obviously, he comes in as a rookie and probably has a bigger role than was envisioned for him, but he played well. 2023, he took a little bit of a step back, mostly due to the drafting of Jack Campbell. But this season, when he was asked to play due to injuries, Malcolm Rodriguez played the best ball of his career. He was the 16th ranked linebacker according to PFF, and that's Malcolm Rodriguez. That's a big effing deal. And then, of course, to round it all out, Derek Barnes. Derek Barnes, again, terrible as a rookie. 2022, better. 2023 takes another leap. And then this year has the best short sample size of his life, in my opinion, then unfortunately goes down. All of those guys have developed. All of those guys owe Kelvin Sheppard a big debt. And besides for Jack Campbell, those aren't like Rodrigo was a 6th-round pick. Derek Barnes was a 4th-round pick. You look at Alex Anzalone, he was off the scrap heap. And Kelvin Sheppard, along with other factors, with those guys being very good and maybe better than people thought and coachable, really helped develop this into a damn good linebacking core. So Kelvin Sheppard, with what he's done with the linebackers, earned that promotion, in my opinion.
He definitely did. And in my notes I have here that is the all coached up unit. When you look at the different units on this Detroit Lions team, there's a lot of investment sunk in place everywhere. But one of the things that I continue to kind of remark about when we were covering the offseason, this past offseason, is that they didn't do anything different to the linebacking core. But you saw gains and you saw growth. You've seen who Alex Anzalone has become, like you pointed out. And I know how people felt initially when Jack Campbell was the pick versus how people feel today about who Jack Campbell is. And he held it down pretty well in the absence of Alex Anzalone. But even then, Alex Anzalone and the player he became here, Kelvin Sheppard had something to do with that. And when you talk about the all-coached-up team, the all-coached-up unit, there's something there, a word that you used there. These guys have continued to develop. And what was his position at LSU in 2020 as an administrator? Director of player development. And then he went instantly after that the next year and became the outside linebackers coach for the Detroit Lions. So it's like, you know what? This is where at least the football world has already identified that Kelvin Sheppard is a plus. Not just player development for linebackers, overall. And that's what I like about where his mind is, and the track record that you so eloquently laid out is that players underneath Kelvin Sheppard have a track record of improving. And now when you're talking about this defense and some of the young players we have on it, like a Terry and Arnold, I can't wait to see what philosophies Kelvin Sheppard has that can now be more throughout the course of this defense and this philosophy and this ideology after Aaron Glenn laid what I believe is a really, really good foundation.
Yeah, and Kelvin Sheppard, obviously, from what I laid out and from what I've kind of been watching and looking at when it comes to linebacker developments, that's a pretty good sign that he deserved the promotion and is going to do well. We still have to wait and see because he's never been a defensive coordinator. However, I also wanted to look back at just the history of the NFL, and going from a positional coach to a first-time defensive coordinator is something that happens all of the time, and that's what happened to Aaron Glenn. Aaron Glenn was the DB's coach of the Saints and then goes to the Lions as a first-time defensive coordinator, has some ups and downs at the beginning, but is very successful. Let's look at Robert Saleh. He went from the linebackers coach for the Jaguars to the defensive coordinator for the 49ers, does a great job. DeMeco Ryans, inside linebackers coach for San Fran, gets the promotion to their defensive coordinator. Let's go to even the bigger heavyweights. Before Bill Belichick was Bill Belichick, he was the special teams and linebackers coach for the Giants, gets promoted from within and becomes the greatest defensive coordinator of all time, and then maybe the best defensive head coach period of all time. Let's go to even another heavyweight, Buddy Ryan. Remember the 85 Bears, the 46 defense, goes from the D-line coach for the Vikings to a first-time defensive coordinator for the Bears. His son Rex goes from a D-line coach from the Ravens, promoted to the from within to the defensive coordinator of the Ravens. I know. Stop typing. Kelvin Sheppard's going to become Bill Belichick. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just messing with you guys a little bit. But the reality is there is all kinds of precedent of guys going from positional coaches to being highly successful defensive coordinators their first time around. So this is the natural progression of coaching in the NFL. If you're a successful positional coach, and if you're the Lions, seeing what Kelvin Sheppard did, you obviously want to promote from within and not let him get away to some other team.
Definitely. When I looked at the video of him kind of giving Malcolm Rodriguez his flowers as a rookie, that's where I saw, this guy is definitely a leader of men. And it was more than just the linebackers in that room while he was speaking. And it was just kind of the intensity, the command that he had, the way that you could tell that those guys followed after him. That's what I love about Kelvin Sheppard. And he's one of those guys that was very, very active on the sideline. You could see his presence. You could see his energy. You could see his flair and his fire. And it's the same type of stuff that we saw out of Aaron Glenn, the same type of stuff that we saw and we see out of Dan Campbell. And so to be able to kind of keep that recipe for those players to kind of still have the identity, that corporate culture or that team identity, still feel the same, still have some parts of the same type of terminology. And no, this guy's been in the trenches with us. He knows exactly who we are, what we've been through, and where we're trying to go. And Kelvin Sheppard understands that. He's gone through now the pain of the last 2 seasons. And I do believe that those things, along with the football acumen and knowledge that he's shown, his ability already to show that the football world has identified him as a person that's very, very, very good with player development. And then we see that on the NFL pro level as well. I'm excited for what Kelvin Sheppard is going to bring to this defense overall. And they've already moved to help bolster that. When you look at Casey Rogers and such, that's where I'm just like, you know what? Let's go Detroit Lions. They're not just lying down, for lack of a better word. This is an organization that is coming through on its promises. They said that they're going to continue to build. They said that they have Super Bowl window, and they got some young dogs that are hungry to prove that.
You definitely do. And you got a young dog, now defensive coordinator, who's hungry to prove things as well. JB Smoove, how you feeling about Kelvin Sheppard getting that promotion from within as opposed to them going outside the organization?
I'm pretty happy about it. I mean, I like the idea of them promoting from within, as you said as well, too. I know this isn't going to be huge game changing. Obviously, there's going to be a little bit of mistakes and some fumbles, as that first, new head defensive coordinator spot for him as well, too. But I believe he still has the back of every single person in that locker room on that defense. And I think the well of the city as well, too. Like I said, it's going to be rough that first go around, but trust me, once he has a little bit more time, everything will work out fine. I know he might not be the first choice of everyone out there, but I think it is the right choice for Dan Campbell and the rest of this organization.
Yeah, a track record of coaching up the linebackers. There's a lot of precedent in terms of this kind of movement as your natural progression, going from a successful positional coach to a defensive coordinator. Chase, Kelvin Sheppard, are you happy with the promotion from within by the Detroit Lions?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not disappointed with the move. I'm still a little numb to the NFL right now. I have no rooting interest in the Super Bowl. Whoever wins is just going to be the Super Bowl champion of this year, and it's not the Lions, and that sucks. And so, just looking forward to hopefully the improvements we can make going into next year. Obviously, Kelvin Sheppard has that bitter taste in his mouth, so he's going to want to rinse it out and just be just as motivated as everybody else who's coming back to right the wrongs of last season. So I'm kind of just hoping we can just fast forward to August.
I feel you on that one. I feel you on that one. if it was only so easy. But you know what? When you talk about starting to rinse that bitter taste out of your mouth, I do think it starts with hires like this one, and it's why I do. We've deliberated about it, and you know what? This coaching staff, it's one where it's already been starting to get poached, at least on the offensive side and on the defensive side. Obviously, Terrell Williams is gone, and on the offense, we know that there was a couple other players that were getting poached. Ben Johnson said he wouldn't do it, but we know that he was able to go and snag a couple. And one of those names that people were getting worried about was Hank Fraley potentially leaving the Detroit Lions as well. But he's staying on as offensive line coach of the Detroit Lions while also becoming a run game coordinator. And Flano, I got to ask you this, and you got to tell us after the break, man, after this, when we get to this next segment, how important is this for the Lions? Because everything has to be viewed within the scheme of not just pretty good football, but taking advantage of what the organization, the coach and the GM and the players have said is a Super Bowl window.
Yeah.
Everything has to be viewed through that lens. So let's say what up, though, to our friends, and we got to talk about this chat family. Hey, let's get that like poll up, too, man. We got to see who the real Detroit sports fans are, JB Smooth.
Hey.
Oh, I got you.
Shout out.
Hopefully you all seen the new Super Bowl logo for next year. It has some very unique colors in it as well, too. But let me tell you guys about the New Holland Brewing Company, that Tangerine Space Machine.
But I have Honolulu Blue in it.
I'm not. Just look for it. Look for it. I'm not gonna say anything. That Tangerine Space Machine, no. The new easy drinking IPA that is out of this world. It's smooth, it's juicy, but refreshing crushability. Take your taste buds to the moon and grab yourself a case of this intergalactic haze of goodness. This is the official beer of outer space, but you don't have to go that far to grab one. Go to your local store and pick one up today. Brewed by New Holland Brewing Company, straight out of Holland, Michigan, so you always can support locally.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles. And with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
Big injuries, big news. Twice a week, Dr. Jeff Pierce from Michigan Sports and Spine joins Woodward Sports Network for the Injury Insider Report. Big D Energy Tuesdays at noon, and Ermanni and Edwards with Maz Thursdays at 3:30. Get expert analysis and in-depth breakdowns on the latest sports injuries from the man trusted by top athletes in the community, like D-Mac. Whether it's the Lions, Pistons, Tigers, or Red Wings, Dr. Pierce talks us through it all. Don't miss the Injury Insider Report with Dr. Jeff Pierce, your go-to source for understanding the impact of injuries on the games and players we love. Only on Woodward Sports Network. Scan the QR code on the screen or go to MichiganSportsandSpine.com to see if Dr. Jeff Pierce can help you.
How do people feel about getting a Planet Fitness membership for $15 a month? How do they like working out in a clean and spacious gym that's filled with equipment for every workout? And how about free fitness training in the judgment-free zone that leaves them feeling energized all day long? Join Planet Fitness today with the free PF app, online or in club, and start getting that big fitness energy for $15 a month.
No one gives away more cash and prizes than Woodward Sports. You don't believe us? Here's our latest $10,000 winner.
You guys posted, hey, if you guess all this stuff right, we'll give it's $10,000. I'm like, okay, well, why the hell not?
And the winning doesn't stop there. How about our Outkick Your Coverage winner?
Let's give it up for David Tully, everybody. David Tully. This guy's got a hot girl.
Bigger prizes, bigger giveaways, cash, merch, tickets, and more. All from the biggest sports network in Detroit. No one does it bigger and better than Woodward Sports. Make sure you're following, liking, subscribing on Instagram, Facebook, X, and YouTube for your chances to share in the winning. From Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports.
Hey, it is Planet Fitness with over 50 plus Metro Detroit locations, and it's where your fitness is essential. If you're looking to keep up your New Year's resolution and get and stay in great shape and good physical health, you gotta go to Planet Fitness, because if you're on a budget, they've got you. The cheapest memberships are only $15 per month, and they've got all of the right gym equipment in order for you to reach your fitness goals. But if you want to upgrade to the Black Card, you're only paying $24.99 a month, which is still a steal, and certainly a steal for what Planet Fitness has to offer, which allows you to go to any Planet Fitness across the world. So no matter where you are, there's a Planet Fitness nearby. It's Planet Fitness, where your fitness is essential.
Essential. Hey, welcome back to Wake Up Woodward, people. Appreciate you guys for kicking off the day with the WUW Crew. It's your boy Brandon Day, aka Detroit Kool-Aid, your credential Pistons reporter and writer for the network. We got Flannel Sam, just all sports knower, Red Wings correspondent, and ball knower. Basketball, football, however you want it, man. And right now we got to talk about Hank Fraley staying on as offensive lines coach. That was one of the names that made people a little bit concerned. They were wondering, is he going to be one of the ones that get poached? We understood that he was one of those guys like a Kelvin Sheppard, who when you talk about, well, if Ben Johnson leaves, Tanner Engstrand, we have Hank Fraley, one of these guys can step up and do the job. And you know what? Hank Fraley is not a guy that has just stepped into the coaching ranks. Since 2012, man, he's been offensive line coach or within the coaching ranks of pro and college. And we know exactly the importance that he's played underneath Dan Campbell's regime. The fact that they even announced, no, he is staying on with us in the same capacity. I would happen to believe that there's a little bump in pay for him, a little bit bump in responsibility as well. But Hank Fraley, just how important is this and just your initial reaction to it?
I love it, because unlike with Kelvin Sheppard, who you still have to view with a certain amount of healthy skepticism because he's never been a defensive coordinator before, Hank Fraley is basically staying on with the same positional coach while having some additional responsibilities as a run game coordinator. But with Hank Fraley, the proof is in the pudding, and he's doing the exact same thing as he has been doing, like I said, with a slight upgrade in responsibility.
He's not happy about this one, bro.
Yes, but for the most part, just doing the exact same thing as he has been doing. And with him, you got to just look at all the guys who have developed under Hank Fraley. I mean, obviously, we know that Penei Sewell is a physical freak and just as technically sound coming out as you're ever going to find, but that alone doesn't make you a multiple-time first-team All-Pro. He would tell you that Hank Fraley has played a role in coaching him up. You look at Frank Ragnow. I mean, they came into the organization, Hank Fraley and Frank Ragnow, in the exact same season. And ever since Hank Fraley has been promoted to the offensive line coach, Frank Ragnow has made 3 All-Pros. You look at Taylor Decker. I mean, Taylor Decker beat Hank Fraley by a little bit, but Taylor Decker, his whole career, and with some help from Hank Fraley, has just been a really good left tackle. I mean, Kevin Zeitler, he comes here, his first season with Detroit, second highest PFF graded season of his career. Take PFF with a grain of salt if you want, but you saw Kevin Zeitler and how important he is. And we also have to talk about somebody who is not here anymore, Jonah Jackson. Jonah Jackson came from being a 3rd-round pick to somebody who got a $17 million AAV contract with the Los Angeles Rams. Christian Mahogany's looking pretty good. Graham Glasgow, this year notwithstanding, comes back to Detroit in 2023 and has the best season of his life. You got to give credit to a lot of guys when it comes to the O-line. You got to give credit, unfortunately, to Bob Quinn, some to Brad Holmes, of course, the players, but you also have to give credit to the one who's coaching them up, and it is Hank Fraley. And he's done that with this team, and he's going to continue to do that with this team. There's no question of whether or not he knows O-line or can coach O-line. He's already done it, and he's still going to do it. Also a testament to Dan Campbell that Hank Fraley, I mean, he had opportunities to maybe move up. I mean, maybe Seattle just didn't choose him, but at the same time, just making that move to where you're still a positional coach and he still believes in his ability to do so, and he believes in Dan Campbell as a leader, and I think he feels one day I'm going to get that bump. It's just right now, I want to keep doing what I'm doing.
Yeah, and I appreciate him being here because I do believe it means also that he recognizes that that Super Bowl window is open. And if you're not going to go and get an actual OC role, maybe you just stick around and say, you know what, I'm going to help these Detroit Lions in a big way, try and punch this dream home for so many different Lions fans, not just here in the great state of Michigan, but all over the world. We're starting to realize, especially sitting here in these seats, we're hearing from people all over the world. And that's what I like about this, man. The people who decide, you know what, we're going to stay here, we're going to step up, we're going to take the extra responsibility, we're going to put in the work. If we're calling the linebacker core underneath Kelvin Sheppard the all-coached-up unit, what do we call the offensive line underneath Hank Fraley? We've always called it the best unit on this team for a long time. Now, are they getting some challenges from the safeties? Are they getting some challenges from the running back core? And did Jamison Williams throw his name in the hat and give the wide receivers a boost? They did. But we all know what makes this thing go, and that's that offensive line. And I see Weezy D313. He says the O-line was getting that tail whip this year. The worst O-line we fielded since Panay has been here. I believe that that's a little bit overblown, but when you look at this thing from an aspect of personnel, when you put a guy in there like Christian Mahogany, you saw some new life breathed into this offensive line, and maybe that plays some role or some part in Brad Holmes' strategy this offseason.
I mean, I was going to say, I agree, a little overblown, and trust me, I've made it known that Graham Glasgow did not have his best year, and that's facts. Like, you can't really run from that, but I wouldn't say getting their tail whipped. If you want to argue that this year they weren't the best O-line in the NFL, it was actually the Philadelphia Eagles, I'll listen to that and I'll probably agree. But this was still a damn good offensive line. They just, they were, I mean, one of their guys who was a starter had a bad year, and that's going to make a difference. It's going to make you look a little bit worse across the board, but it's still a good unit.
Yeah, and that to me is what matters here. We're talking about two coordinators who have been associated in Kelvin Sheppard and Hank Fraley with proper development of this unit. We've seen them stay cohesive. We've seen now the other players that they've drafted, like a Christian Mahogany, be able to step in and competently fit with this squad, which makes me very, very confident about his role and what happens with this offensive line moving forward, especially if they go out there and they find a couple guys, young players, they might have to coach up and put in position to play sooner rather than later, like we saw with a Christian Mahogany. And that's what I like to see. Listen, to be able to sit here right now and talk about what this offensive line showed, where we know that there's a couple guys who year by year are going to make the decision on, are we going to play again, like a Taylor Decker and a Ragnar and such. I expect there to be some things, ups and downs with the offensive line, but largely underneath Hank Fraley, that's been the one that you can look at and say, they've been the best unit over the last several years.
Well, and that's the underrated thing, and you alluded to it, but I mean, Frank Ragnow, I'm not so sure if he wants a new O-line coach. He's a guy who is an absolute warrior, has been playing through injuries damn near his entire career. Somebody that I'm actually a little bit worried about in his post-football life. But, well, he's a grown man. He can make his decisions. But the reality is that I think he's a candidate to maybe retire young in a couple of years, but maybe he leaves when Hank Fraley leaves. I know there's been some rumors about that he didn't want to play for another offensive line coach. So what does that tell you? That Frank Ragnow and Hank Fraley might be a little bit of a package deal, and even though Frank Ragnow's injuries continue to accumulate, he plays through them, and he was the deserving second-team All-Pro center this year.
Yeah. Hey, JB Smooth, Hank Fraley, staying put with the Detroit Lions. Obviously, there was a lot of people across social media who really started to get concerned about what this team is going to look like, especially if we start to lose some of these coveted coaches that we thought would be able to step up if we lost the great Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn. How you feeling about this, man? Kelvin Sheppard, obviously, we talked about, but Hank Fraley now.
Yeah, Hank Fraley now. Shout out to everyone sending in super chats. Dante151. I see him, man. We didn't forget about him as well too. Shout out to Detroit Caviar as well too. $1.99 super chat. Also another $1.99 super chat. Good running back will make a bad O-line look good. An offensive line coach. So shout out to Detroit Caviar for that one as well too. But Hank Fraley, as you said, Flannel, you're just giving him a little bit more responsibility. I think he's up for the task as well, and I definitely know for sure in his game plan he probably won't sit here and just give Gibbs 14 carries in a divisional game. Just saying, Ben.
That was an interesting thing. Now, run game coordinator for Hank Fraley is going to be. That was an interesting move for him. Get that step up. I wonder what his philosophy would have been. And you know what? That's why I'm so glad I asked you about it in the last break. Let's say what up, though, to some friends, and let's get back, because there are still some people who aren't that necessarily as on the board with this hire as maybe with the Kelvin Sheppard one. I'm seeing even Thomas Rotundi. He doesn't necessarily believe in the development of a Christian Mahogany. He said he played in 2 games. Pump the brakes.
No,
it's fair.
And here's the thing. Yeah, Christian Mahogany, it's a very small sample size. I get it. But he's also a 6th-round pick. And he also was probably your best O-lineman, period, in the Commanders game, which is a heck of a feat for a 6th-round rookie. And when you're in that situation, a lot of times, especially because he started the year hurt, all you have to do in your rookie season is to prove that you can play, to prove that you belong on the field. And Christian Mahogany, he's obviously, if he's the starter next year, he's got to do it over a full season. But I'm encouraged, I will just say that. And I would venture to guess that Hank Fraley played a big role in coaching him up.
Yep, definitely. Hey, JB Smooth, we got to say what up, though, to merch.
Yeah, merch. Look, we are still dropping new designs every single week for you. All you got to do is head over to woodwardsports.com, click on that shop tab. Like I said, new designs every single week, but you can't forget about the grit Detroit football. And no matter what, they can't take it away from us. 2024 NFC Divisional Championships belt-to-ass t-shirts out for you right now. Go and pick up some today. All you got to do is head over to woodwardsports.com and click on that shop tab.
How do people feel about getting a Planet Fitness membership for $15 a month? How do they like working out in the clean and spacious gym that's filled with equipment for every workout? And how about free fitness training in the judgment-free zone that leaves them feeling energized all day long? Join Planet Fitness today with the free PF app, online or in club, and start getting that big fitness energy for $15 a month.
Big injuries, big news. Twice a week, Dr. Jeff Pierce from Michigan Sports and Spine joins Woodward Sports Network for the Injury Insider Report. Big D Energy Tuesdays at noon, and Ermanni and Edwards with Maz Thursdays at 3:30. Get expert analysis and in-depth breakdowns on the latest sports injuries from the man trusted by top athletes in the community, like D-Mac. Whether it's the Lions, Pistons, Tigers, or Red Wings, Dr. Pierce talks us through it all. Don't miss the Injury Insider Report with Dr. Jeff Pierce, your go-to source for understanding the impact of injuries on the games and players we love. Only on Woodward Sports Network. Scan the QR code on the screen or go to MichiganSportsandSpine.com to see if Dr. Jeff Pierce can help you.
Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer, is kicking off the game with the best prices on all cars, trucks, and SUVs, like this 2024 Silverado for just $296 a month, or this 2025 Equinox for as low as $371 a month. Our locations in Novi, Highland, New Hudson, Livonia, and Lansing means we have the perfect Chevy right in your backyard. Get the home team advantage every day at Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer.
We are the network for Detroit by Detroiters. Welcome to the Woodward Sports Network.
At Lady Jane's, we take the chore of getting a haircut. Our talented stylist will deliver an industry-leading haircut, a relaxing scalp massage, a hot lather neck shave, one of my personal faves, and a hot towel treatment.
Towel placement required.
Listen, man, make sure you guys ask where it can go first before you suggest. Open 7 days a week. Walk in any time. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It is wicked awesome. A is Wake Up Woodward. And you know what, man? I can't wait for this right here, man. The Royal Oak Winter Blast.
Yeah.
It's going to be epic. Presented by Soaring Eagle Casino, and it's free admission. Ermanni and Edwards, they're going to be down there, on the Friday, right?
Yep. Friday, I believe.
Yep. So, hey, look forward to seeing you guys down there. I'm going to get down there. I'm going to take the family. They're looking forward as well. They already went, sledding down these little hills, in our backyard and everything. So they're having an epic time. They're doing it the way Michiganders should be able to do the winter time, man. So it's awesome. But, JB Smooth, I know we got a couple of super chats we just want to be able to catch up on. We got just right off the rip, man. We had the championship games. We have this big news. Now we got a little bit of time to be able to settle and get caught up on these super chats.
Yes, we do indeed. Like I said, shout out to Dante151 for sending these in. $4.99 super chat. He said, "No, dog." As Spinny said, "Osama bin Johnson, you terrorist. I hope you don't win a single game. Good win for the Red Wings and Chiefs. Black magic is real." Once again, he sent in another super chat as well too. $4.99. Can someone explain to me delay of game? Because how in the actual fuck wasn't a delay of game on the Chiefs in the first half before the 2-minute warning? I'm not too sure if I've seen that delay of game though. Flannel, did you see it?
Yeah. So basically, it appeared that the play clock ran out with 2:01 on the clock, and the refs just let it go to the 2-minute warning. I know that it's not always perfect. You see it happen all the time where the play clock hits 0, and then just flinch, and then they run the play. I guess if you're being technical, the Chiefs got away with one there.
Yeah, definitely. But the thing is, we've seen this really throughout the playoffs. I know, shout out to Dr. Darius, friend of the show, just homie overall, legend in the city. And he was sending us during one of the Lions games, I think it was against the Vikings, how several times the clock hit 0 while Sam Darnold had the ball. While the offensive lineman, before he even hiked it. And there was something that came out that said that when it hits 0, there's some type of discretion that the referees get. And I'm just like, what the hell is that? That was just the weirdest explanation. I haven't looked at the official rule, but that was at least what came through one of the broadcasts, that effectively it's a referee discretion once that thing hits 0, between 0, whatever the time is, from 1 to the actual 0. They can make it robo, but they don't want to do that.
I feel like I'm under the impression that there's a phantom 0.5 second
there was something they're giving
after the
them.
play clock hits 0 that the referees will wait before they blow the whistle.
So stupid, dog.
Yeah, I mean, and if you're gonna do that,
everybody's underneath it. So.
If you're going to have that discretion, letting it run to the 2-minute warning doesn't seem like the worst thing in the world. But the fact that it's the Chiefs, the fact that people are already frustrated that they seem to get more calls than others, the fact that they win all the time, it's gonna be magnified. Every single play that happens in a Chiefs game is blown up and magnified, and they've earned that kind of scrutiny. But it also comes with a lot of social media attention.
It does, and you know what? We got to experience a little bit of that. It was interesting to see the narrative change against the Lions. They went from kind of the lovable winners to the hateable winners this season, and people started to complain about, man, the refs are on the Lions side. I'm like, whoa, we've really made it now at this point in time. So, you know what? If that's one trend that we can take away from the Chiefs along with winning Super Bowls, I happily accept that if the Lions are going to be on the side of whatever the referees are deciding, man. But we got to talk about this offensive line, because some people are pushing back on Hank Fraley just a little bit, because they say that the offensive line wasn't that hot this year. And my thing is this. Did we see MVP caliber season from a Jared Goff? Did we see Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery? They've had some of their best career. Well, obviously Jahmyr Gibbs is just starting off, but he's already looking like one of the best running backs in the league. David Montgomery has just absolutely had a revival. And you talk about what's going on with that blocking game, how the running backs have been blocking and chipping, what the play action is how they're playing in the play action as well. That's where I'm just like, what are people exactly looking at if they have anything against a Hank Fraley? Obviously, from an individual standpoint, I would have liked better play out of certain players, but I also understand that as these guys are getting older, there's going to be some things that are just a little bit more unpredictable, and that's where I'm hoping they do something to augment a little bit more from this offseason, whether it's draft capital or taking a flyer on some young player on that offensive line. But overall, I didn't think that any perception that this offensive line didn't live up to where it should have been. I didn't think that was a Hank Fraley issue.
Yeah, and for this year, I think the offensive line for the most part played fine. Like I said, if you want like the Graham Glasgow chum in the water, I understand. He didn't have a good year. Also, I'll give you this. Taylor Decker had some issues at times with injury, of course, and with pass blocking. He let up 8 sacks in 14 games, which is too much. But I think overall, you look at Kevin Zeitler having a great year. You look at Frank Ragnow being second-team All-Pro, Penei Sewell being first-team All-Pro. It was a good offensive line, and one thing you cannot question whatsoever when it comes to the offensive line is the run blocking. You also have to look at, as you said, Jared Goff in the regular season was an MVP candidate. Jahmyr Gibbs was damn near a 6-yard per carry guy. David Montgomery did what he does, which is take a leap from playing with a competent offensive line versus when he was on the Bears. If you're worried about the future, if you think that that's something that the Lions should address in the draft, if you're worried about Graham Glasgow being back, if you're worried about re-signing Kevin Zeitler, Taylor Decker's age, Frank Ragnow's age, I get that, but that's not Hank Fraley. Hank Fraley did a great job coaching this O-line this year, and I don't have any complaints about the O-line this year. Was it slightly below maybe what it was last year? By a smidge, but nothing really that it was negligible.
Yeah, overall, yeah. I was very, very happy with what they showed. If anything, I'm going to continue to say this. When the season first ended, for whatever reason, or even before that first game against the Commanders, I was all on the side of defense. But now part of me is just like, oh, man, I wouldn't mind at least one stud offensive lineman in this coming draft. I just would not. You see the effect of like a 6th-round pick in a couple games, like a Christian Mahogany. We know all season it was about building him up, coaching him up to have that opportunity late in the season. The Lions weren't under any illusions. They know that towards the end of the season, even if these guys don't get injured, guys like Frank Ragnow and Taylor Decker may just need a breather for a game or for a series. And so I like the fact that they had him ready. So imagine if they go with a guy who's starting off with perceivably better tools to start with, someone who they grade a little bit higher than a 6th-round draft pick. That's where I feel like when you're putting Hank Fraley in this position, I'm hoping that the mindset or the philosophy is to go and make sure to get him some more dogs, some more kind of clay to work with to continue to keep this offensive line in the longevity scope, rather than in a position where we see those cracks showing more and more and more.
Yeah, and the good news is that Brad Holmes already took a step in terms of addressing the future of the offensive line in the last draft. And you've seen it with Christian Mahogany. He can play, as I said before, it was really one regular season start and one at Soldier Field and one spectacular start in the divisional round. But I'm seeing encouraging signs. Maybe we'll see something out of Giovanni Manu moving forward. I know that we haven't seen him on the field. He was as raw can come when it comes to a prospect. He's got all the measurables in the world, but he played his college ball in British Columbia, Canada. So that's no disrespect. He was always going to be a long-term project. So it seems as though Brad Holmes has taken the steps that he views necessary to keep this offensive line humming for years to come as the Glasgows and the Ragnows and the Deckers kind of age out. But I wouldn't mind at all if he decided to make that kind of a move in this year's upcoming draft as well.
Yeah, not at all, man. I would not mind it at all. I know that there's some people they kind of here in the chat, it seems like their positions are starting to become more influenced based on what they've seen. Man Beast Morris says, tackle position must be addressed. Same for guard Decker. He says he's always been mid. I'll push
he's
back
not
on
mid. He's come
on, guys.
A B player and has always been a B player. He's never been a Pro Bowler. He's never been an All-Pro, but he's solid, man. He's for the most part been durable, and for the most part he's been consistently very, very good. And in conjunction with his mate on the right side being Penei Sewell, I mean, if Taylor Decker continues to play like he's been playing, I'm fine with him. I mean, they paid him, for crying out loud, so you kind of have no choice. It's the future. It's if he takes a step back and he has some injury attrition, which is possible, but I don't think Taylor Decker's been mid. It's just he's never been great. He's always just been very good.
Let me see here. Deep Space. As the Eagles fans, we should have played the Lions. You guys had the O-line. You could have beat the Commanders. Listen, man, goodness gracious. I'm like flan on this one. It's like it's tough to go back and continue to revisit. But in hindsight, there are just some things that I'm looking at now. And I'm hoping that as they move forward, it's not, you're not waiting for a discovery of Jahmyr Gibbs. You just know now, he is the guy. Before we knew he had the talent, before we knew he showed flashes, and that, hey, maybe there's a conversation. Remember the conversation was, could he be the number one? Nobody's having that conversation at the start of next season. And that's why I'm hoping that when you talk about having this offense hit the ground running, if you have to wait a little bit, precedent shows that Jared Goff and his receivers might start the season in live action, a little bit off rhythm, a little bit off timing. But what's something that can help that? If this offensive line is in a position to spring a guy like a Jahmyr Gibbs, and that's where I'm hoping that going into next season, whoever the OC is, and whatever Hank Fraley's philosophy is, that it's something that has this team ready to depend on a Jahmyr Gibbs in a big way to start next season.
Yeah. Headship man, Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yeah, no more conversations.
Moving forward, man. He could be the best in the world as early as next year, although Mr. Saquon Barkley might have something to say about it. But as far as future, the fact that he makes no money for now, Jahmyr Gibbs is about as good of a running back situation as you can have right now, especially with David Montgomery is there as well. But there was another team that picked up a big win on the weekend and is in the midst of a huge stretch in which they're 2-0 on so far. You love to see it, and that's the Detroit Red Wings. But first, where are we going with this?
Dr. Pierce.
Dr. Pierce.
Hey, attention sports fans. Don't miss out on expert sports injury insights with Dr. Jeff Pierce of Michigan Sports and Spine. Join Dr. Pierce every Tuesday on Big D Energy, every Thursday on Ermanni and Edwards, where he's offering you top-notch injury advice. You guys got to trust the guy that DMAC trusts, because Dr. Jeff Pierce is here to keep you in the game and performing at your best. For more information, visit MichiganSportsandSpine.com or call 248-426-9944.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles, and with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
Most talked about Detroit media by other Detroit media, and we love it. It's the Woodward Sports Network.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men today. Open 7 days a week. Sit back, relax, and enjoy precision haircut, scalp massage, hot leather neck shave, and hot towel treatment from one of our talented stylists. Step up your game this season and take advantage of our $20 haircut special. Scan the QR code and get your coupon today. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, the ultimate haircut experience. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins always welcome. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, it's wicked awesome.
Big injuries, big news. Twice a week, Dr. Jeff Pierce from Michigan Sports and Spine joins Woodward Sports Network for the Injury Insider Report. Big D Energy Tuesdays at noon, and Ermanni and Edwards with Maz Thursdays at 3:30. Get expert analysis and in-depth breakdowns on the latest sports injuries from the man trusted by top athletes in the community, like DMAC. Whether it's the Lions, Pistons, Tigers, or Red Wings, Dr. Pierce talks us through it all. Don't miss the Injury Insider Report with Dr. Jeff Pierce, your go-to source for understanding the impact of injuries on the games and players we love. Only on Woodward Sports Network. Scan the QR code on the screen or go to MichiganSportsandSpine.com to see if Dr. Jeff Pierce can help you.
All right, Woodward sports fans, whether you're hitting the game or just chilling, Jars Cannabis has you covered. Jars is home to Michigan's largest line of recreational cannabis products. They've got 27 locations, 9 alone in Metro Detroit, so there is always one nearby you. And don't fear, because if you live in Grand Rapids, Madison Heights, or Milan, Michigan, stores are coming your way very, very soon. It's Jars Cannabis. I know you want to get high.
Hey, welcome back. It is Wake Up Woodward, and we appreciate you all for kicking off the day with the WUW Crew. If you haven't already, going ahead and smash that like button. I'm telling you guys, it goes a long, long way to help the crew. Obviously, super chats do as well, but if you got a free second, hey, that like button goes a long way. satisfied for our homie KG. He should be back with us tomorrow. And shout out to you, brother. Shout out to that dude, Justin, and Matthew Broder as well. But just a little bit of house cleaning with some of these chats that we have here in the system. Before we talk about kind of these victory Red Wings, man.
Yeah.
Irv Gotti says, Kool-Aid, I tried watching the Commanders and Philly game, and I couldn't as I got triggered again. Lions have unfinished business. We need dogs that are hungry for kneecaps next year. No BS. He put that in all caps. So, you know what, Kavasi Chase, he's feeling like you right now, man. And that's how I was, too. I continue to contemplate, do I go to the watch party, do I not? I just can't continue to feel a little bit sick every single time I tapped into the game, man. But, you know, with some of these talents as special as they are, like Saquon Barkley, Jalen Hurts, who we talked about a little bit, we're going to have to talk about him a little bit more and some other stuff. And then Jaden Daniels and what they've been able to do. You can't look away too much, but some people are feeling just like you.
Yeah, I mean, when we were going through the 7 stages of grief on Big D Energy after the loss, you know, like it's a non-linear process. I felt like I got to acceptance pretty quick. And yesterday took me back a little bit to stage 6 and a little bit of the depression, just like knowing, like thinking about like what could have been. Trying not to do that to myself, but it's tough, you know. Like obviously, like there's like an itch that left that, you know, feels unscratched right now for this team. It's probably the best way to put it. And like I said, you kind of just gotta wait around and you know, put in the work in the off season and come back in August and September to be ready to, you know, put in the grind again and hopefully get back to February.
Yeah, definitely, man. And you know what? I feel like that too, bro. I am so ready, man, to just get this thing going, because we already know how Brad Holmes shows out, and just kind of looking at what he's done already kind of in the drafts, I'm looking forward to what unit he decides he's going to bolster right now, because he's either going to send one over the edge from really good to trending on greatness, in my opinion, or he's going to take one of these units that it could use some bolstering, in my opinion, like either side of the trenches or even that linebacker core, and they can get nasty really, really quickly. And you know what, man? I'm just kind of looking at the chat right now, and people are kind of all over the place with this offensive line thing. People are wondering about Taylor Decker. I just don't think he's that big of a worry, Flannel Sam.
No, and like I said, there were moments. We all saw him, missed a few games, let up a little bit too much sacks and pressure at times. But overall in the season, I think that he was fine. He's what you would call on this team not a problem.
Yeah.
Not elite, but not a problem by any means. Very, very good. As solid and as consummate of a professional as you're going to find.
I agree 100% with that. And you know what? To talk about a team that's now what up, though, JB Smooth?
Just a little bit of breaking news that just popped up here from the Detroit Lions. Speaking of Taylor Decker, he's been named to the Pro Bowl games. He is replacing Penei Sewell, who was unable to participate due to an injury. So, shout out to Taylor Decker.
Hey, shout out to Taylor Decker.
You know what I feel like? I feel like with Taylor Decker, and this isn't a knock on him.
It's right on time.
It's a bit of a lifetime achievement award, but at the same time, Taylor Decker, if you watch his career, if you look at how he's played and like the numbers and the eye tests and all of that over his, I believe 9 years in the NFL now, he should have had a Pro Bowl before this year.
Definitely.
Wasn't his best season this year, but I don't mind a little alternate lifetime achievement award, also rewarding him for what he did this year, kind of a Pro Bowl appearance.
Yeah, definitely. Things just look different when he's not out there. That's just the best way I can put it. When you talk about Chiefs magic, there is something a little bit more magical about who Taylor Decker is. One of your few players, he might be maybe your only player, kind of like the holdover from those old regimes, man. And so it's like I'm happy for him, and I'm glad that he's one of those guys that's been impervious to that. Like, he's just played his position and played it well. And when we talk about what Jared Goff needs to play a clean game, well, Jared Goff has put up a lot of good stats during Taylor Decker's time here.
Yeah.
A lot of stats that a lot of people out there didn't think that even Jared Goff was going to be capable of. That's what I'm saying. It's like, I look at the impact of all the players around that are supposed to depend on what Taylor Decker does, and all those players are doing really, really well. Even if you can look and say sometimes, oh, man, well, he got beat on this play, he got beat on that play. I believe that there's going to be some battles that he loses a lot more as he gets older. Trust me, man, as the old head on the show, I can tell y'all I understand. But there's something also about that man strength and that wisdom that he's bringing. And when you're talking about trying to maximize a Super Bowl window, a guy who's still doing it, on the field to a passing degree, and you also know that you're trying to coach up these next guys. Hank Fraley is the guy. He's getting some responsibilities. But what about having a guy like Taylor Decker, who maybe has coached in his future as well, to be able to be there to help this offensive line take the next step forward? Because you're right, Manu, Christian Mahogany, whoever they go and they get this year, I want guys like Taylor Decker more in their ears than not, especially to help out a guy like Hank Fraley and whoever else. I'm for it, man.
I mean, and Taylor Decker, say what you want about Penei Sewell, and Penei Sewell's the best in the game right now. It's Taylor Decker protecting that blind side. And we all know how that is a quarterback's best friend. We all know how if your blind side isn't protected, you're more susceptible to getting strip sacked and just getting pressure that you don't see. So I'm sure Jared Goff is very thankful for Taylor Decker. I'll just say that. And trust me, I've been saying that Taylor Decker, there were some moments where I'm like, I don't know, kind of not looking a little shaky, but at the end of the day, I bet you that Jared Goff has a lot of complimentary words about Decker.
Yeah, I see Stick, man, in the chat, dog. I love him.
Boy.
Stick Radio. He said these guys calling him washed as he gets a Pro Bowl nod is just poetic.
Jesus Christ. Nobody takes victory laps and losses more than old Stick.
I love you, boy.
That Stick and Neil, my goodness.
Hey, dog, hey, look, they put on a fine show yesterday as well, man. But I see Xavier D too. He said Decker is not the problem. Glasgow was the problem. I didn't know we were going to have this much discourse over the offensive line.
No. If you want to talk about someone who's bad, you can look at Graham Glasgow. And for the record, I give Glasgow a ton of credit for what he did in 2023. I thought he was one of the unsung heroes, one of those cheaper free agency signings that really popped. Unfortunately, when he got an extension, Graham Glasgow hasn't been so great, but at least you know that he has it in him. But with Graham Glasgow, you also have to remember, even though it doesn't seem like he's been in the league forever, I think he's about to turn either 32 or 33, and you don't typically get better once you start approaching your mid-30s.
Man, not at all, man. And you know what? You want to take a quick one and then talk about these Red Wings?
Absolutely.
Let's do that. I'm excited. Red Wings correspondent. I know Cavassier Chase is on those Red Wings as well. Couple big wins. And you know what? One of them against Tampa Bay Lightning, who they are chasing, who sit in that second wild card spot. And the Red Wings gave themselves an opportunity to pull within 4 points of that second wild card spot. So we'll talk about it after we say what up, though, to some friends.
Sabbath coffee.
Hey, I'm saying what up, though, to some friends. Fuel your Detroit sports fandom with the perfect cup and become a subscriber of Sabbath Coffee Roasters. Whether you're gearing up for a big game or saving a quiet morning or kicking things off with the WUW Crew via Woodward Sports, Sabbath Coffee Roasters has you covered with fresh, locally roasted specialty coffee. Delivered right to your door. Head to www.sabbathcoffeeroasters.com. Choose your favorite roast and use code Woodward to get 25% off your first subscription order. Awake and unwind. Support local and enjoy game day right with Sabbath Coffee Roasters.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles. And with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
Woodward Avenue, the first paved road in America. Woodward Sports, the first sports network born in Detroit and made for Detroit.
How do people feel about getting a Planet Fitness membership for $15 a month? How do they like working out in a clean and spacious gym that's filled with equipment for every workout? And how about free fitness training in the judgment-free zone that leaves them feeling energized all day long? Join Planet Fitness today with the free PF app, online or in club, and start getting that big fitness energy for $15 a month.
I love Woodward Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Dreaming of a new home but feeling the financial pinch? Mark White & Associates, your trusted real estate experts, are here to help. Mark White and his team will pay up to $5,000 of your closing costs. That's right, I said $5,000. Call Mark White & Associates today at 248-290-8242 or visit them at markwhitesells.com. Again, call Mark White today at 248-290-8242 to make your dreams come true.
Hey, what up, though, people? Welcome back to Wake Up Woodward. And we got to talk about the Detroit Red Wings, who are trying to not get left out of the playoff conversation when you talk about Detroit sports. We know the Tigers surprised everybody and made it and won a series and pushed another one to the limit. We know the Detroit Lions made it. Disappointed again, but they are gearing up to get back. Detroit Pistons are still prime playoff positioning, and the Red Wings, they're fighting to make up ground and be able to capitalize on expectation of being a playoff team this year. They sit 4 points out with 51 points. The Tampa Bay Lightning, who they did beat 2-0, they have 55 points. And the Wings, though, they're still, though, when you talk about some of these teams they're jockeying with, one of the hotter teams still in the league, 6-3-1. They have now won 2 in a row. And it's good to see them get a dub over the Tampa Bay Lightning, brother.
Yeah, and the way that things played out in the standings over the weekend, the Red Wings needed that game to really stay afloat. I know the All-Star break hasn't even happened yet, so the whole stay afloat talk seems a little bit silly, but when you're behind and you're chasing multiple teams, you got to stack up the points against the teams you're chasing as much as you can. And the Red Wings, they got an absolutely huge win. 2-0 over the Tampa Bay Lightning, or should I say Cam Talbot got himself a huge win because he absolutely stood on his head on Saturday, had, in my opinion, his best performance of the year. Did you know that in that game, it's kind of like a geeky stat, but I think it shows how Cam Talbot played. The goals expected for the Tampa Bay Lightning were 4.34, and Cam Talbot let in bupkis. Absolutely nothing. It was a spectacular performance. I mentioned a couple of times how I'm concerned about the goaltending in terms of them making the playoffs this year, but we do know that Cam Talbot can get hot. He was excellent at the beginning of the year. Water found its level a little bit, but he's been excellent in the last couple of games. It's like with him and Alex Lyon, they're both going to be more streaky than consistent, Cam Talbot being his age and Alex Lyon just being more of a backup, but still. Give more performances like that and you're never going to lose. But it wasn't even just the goaltending, even though I kind of joked that Cam Talbot won this game by himself. In the last 2 games against Montreal and Tampa Bay, 100% on the PK. You love to see that. They've been a terrible penalty kill team all season, but you know what? When they kill penalties, when they kill 5 out of 5, you win games. That's a novel concept. Obviously, I'm joking, but that's something that they've improved on slightly with Todd McClellan and hopefully will be better for moving forward. But one other person, actually, there's one other player, but I believe 2 people really deserve credit for this certain player, and that of course is Mr. Marco Kasper, who had the redirect deflection goal to give the Red Wings that 1-0 lead, in which he kind of used his size to screen Vasilevsky, and JT Compher shot one in or passed it, not sure what he was trying to do, but either way, Marco Kasper deflected it in. But the reason I mentioned 2 people is that Marco Kasper in the last 9 games has 8 points. What happened 9 games ago? It was Todd McClellan who promoted Marco Kasper to line 1. And that's a very kind of, I don't want to say risky move, but at the same time, it's the type of things that Derek Lalonde just wasn't doing. Todd McClellan is showing his acumen as a coach by seeing something in Marco Kasper, by seeing that he's got some untapped potential, being a top 10 pick, and putting him on that front line. And Marco Kasper has absolutely thrived to where he was really struggling to score at the beginning of the year. So big win, huge ups to Cam Talbot, huge ups to Marco Casper and Todd McClellan as well. But unfortunately, with them being behind, there's still a lot of work to be done. Now they got to go out tonight and beat the Los Angeles Kings, or we're having a conversation about is it slipping away? It's the reality of being in the East right now. It sucks.
Yeah, hey, what up, though, Kavasi and Chase? Because I want to be fired up, man. I'm hoping we get all 4 teams in the playoffs and be able to start their next seasons ahead with even greater expectations. But with these Red Wings, I continue to check that temperature, man. Couple wins. How you feeling?
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible to see like what these young guys can do when you put them around good players to help them grow. I mean, Derek Lalonde, like with the Red Wings, was just completely malpractice coaching us this season, and you see him slowly trying to dig out of the hole. Obviously, a couple really nice wins out of the weekend, and we have 6 games going into the Four Nations little break that we get. So hopefully, on this West Coast road trip, we can at least get like 4 points out of it, whether that be, sneaking out a couple wins. We got a tough game tonight against the LA Kings. I think almost every team we're going to be playing against on this road trip is right there in the playoffs or fighting for the wild card spot. So, I mean, it's not going to be an easy road trip to say the least, but, we're fighting hard. And then, I'm looking forward to like just taking it a little bit at a time, looking at this season in chunks, and like just want to focus in on the next 6 games before the Four Nations break, and then 2 weeks off, and let's come back firing.
Yeah, definitely. And when I'm looking at the Red Wings, I'm hoping that the All-Star break is something that allows this team to get a little bit of rest and come back with a better understanding of whatever Todd McClellan is trying to instill in this team as a new coach still, because they're having to do multiple things right now. They're having to just play effing hockey, which, in my opinion, if you're talking about a transition to a new coach, the first thing you got to do before you have a time to even instill your philosophy is just put your players in the best position to succeed. You got some high-minded, heady guys on this team, from Larkin to Sider to Patrick Kane to DeBrincat to I can go down the line. I'm forgetting and blanking on names, but you got a lot of names here of players that carry some experience and can perform if put in the right spot, and that's what I've seen largely under Todd McClellan.
Yeah, they've been a lot better. If you could just isolate the Todd
Raymond.
Hey, Lucas Raymond has been a star this year, but if you can just isolate the Todd McClellan record, they'd be a playoff team. But of course, you can't do that. We get a super chat from Dante151. Well, we can stop the speculation that Brandon Katz is Flannel Sam's burner account now, because Flannel Sam is here and making sense, unlike Brandon Katz. And I will say this. I agree with Katz more than most here, but he does say something in the chat that I want to respond to. That's a bad take by Sam. The Red Wings have been inconsistent all year. The Red Wings haven't been consistent against bad teams. The issue isn't that they are in the East. And for the record, I'm not excusing what the Red Wings did to get themselves in a hole. Overall, the whole season encompassing, it's been disappointing so far. It's just when you put yourself in a hole, even when you play much better under Todd McClellan, even when you get a couple of big wins against teams like the Canadiens who you're chasing and the Lightning who you're chasing, you still look at the standings and you think, wait, are we 2 games back now? Oh no, we're still 4. Mm-hmm. That's my point, is that you have to play even better being in a conference that is such a gauntlet, especially at the bottom. I mean, the Tampa Bay Lightning, a lot of the pieces from their 2-time Stanley Cup team are still there. I mean, you've got Victor Hedman, you've got Nikita Kucherov, I mean, you've got Hagel, you've got Jake Gunsel now. That's a damn good team, and they're a wild card team. It's like, it's a gauntlet, but that doesn't mean that the Red Wings season has been a success so far. Both things can be true.
Yeah, no, not a success so far. Where it continues to just bring my mind to is what happens if they would have made this change at coach during the off season and allowed whoever the coach would have been, if it would have been a McClellan, to be able to just instill a little bit more of what he wants and have these guys playing a little bit differently. I don't think that you just lose the locker room to start the season if you're already the coach that's been here for some time. I feel like this might have been something that was trending towards exactly kind of some of the rumors we heard, that effectively his voice just did not ring the same way with those players this season. And then instantly you see Todd McClellan come in and be able to get these guys to respond, even some of your young guys out here. And that, to me, is just very, very telling. And you're right. The hole they put themselves in, that's on them. But in terms of being able to put themselves in a position to dig themselves out of that, I think they have a good opportunity. That's why I'm hoping at the All-Star break they get a chance to realize. Remember, before we were looking at this team pretty sad, and we were like, look, they're down here with the bottom 2 or 3 of the East after being a team that had gone a little bit of a stretch and we thought could be just a top 6 playoff team. Now we're looking at this squad clawing its way back, and it's because of largely what they've done underneath Todd McClellan. And even though, like you said, you can't just put that in a vacuum and say, hey, go Red Wings, because of everything they've done before that, you can't tell me that the second half of the season doesn't look a whole lot more appetizing with Todd McClellan at the helm. If this pace continues, I do believe we're talking about playoff hockey here in Detroit.
Of course it looks more appetizing. I mean, the best thing is that obviously I think Derek Lalonde's voice had, like, it just wasn't resonating anymore. Players were tuning him out, but it's not just that. It's putting Edvinsson and Seider on a different defensive pairing so that you have a guy on 2, and putting Marco Kasper on the first line, a rookie who really had showed some flashes, but really when it comes to scoring hadn't been, and I'm not saying it's all his fault, really hadn't been getting it done, but that's because, but I think he's proving now it was because he was surrounded by guys who aren't as good. That is like pulling the right strings. Those are coaching moves that win you games and have done so far. I mean, who would have thought within the span of just a couple of weeks, Marco Kasper would go from somebody who it was more about potential to somebody who you're like, wow, 8 points in 9 games.
Making
This
an
might
impact.
be another Steve Yzerman top 10 pick that really hits. You love to see it, and Todd McClellan deserves a lot of credit for that.
Yep. And you know what? I'm hoping the Red Wings keep it going. Another team, it looks like we might have a little bit of time to be able to talk some Pistons here.
Yeah.
After we say what up, though, to some friends. Because we're going to talk about it, man. It looks like Cade might need a little bit more for the Pistons to play as consistently good as we've seen them play until they're able to potentially get a Jaden Ivey back. I don't know necessarily if this is a situation where he's coming back this year or if they're going to just shut him down eventually, but we should be getting that reevaluation soon. But they had a matchup, one of those narrative matchups against the Orlando Magic, who got both of their horses back in Paulo Banchero, Franz Wagner, Jalen Suggs played, and you know what? That game flipped from a 12-point first quarter lead for the Pistons to them getting pushed around a little bit in that fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Jonathan Isaac had some interesting comments to say.
He did. Tough game, but we'll get into it more later on. The Orlando Magic, they kind of had to have it. They're a team that came in with more expectations, and up to that game, were actually behind the Pistons in the standings, largely due to injuries, but they're trying to get their way back up to a non-play-in, just regular playoff position. But first, I got to tell you about Soroki's. Soroki's Crispy Chicken and Pizza has a limited-time offer continuing throughout the football season. Soroki's is debuting their fresh signature-flavored wings this football season. Grab your friends, order New York-style pizza, and add fresh wings for the games this weekend. Try one of their 7 different flavors. Visit their website at sorokis.com.
How do people feel about getting a Planet Fitness membership for $15 a month? How do they like working out in a clean and spacious gym that's filled with equipment for every workout? And how about free fitness training in the judgment-free zone that leaves them feeling energized all day long? Join Planet Fitness today with the free PF app, online or in club, and start getting that big fitness energy for $15 a month.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer, is kicking off the game with the best prices on all cars, trucks, and SUVs, like this 2024 Silverado for just $296 a month, or this 2025 Equinox for as low as $371 a month. Our locations in Novi, Highland, New Hudson, Livonia, and Lansing means we have the perfect Chevy right in your backyard. Get the home team advantage every day at Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer.
Woodward Avenue, the first paved road in America. Woodward Sports, the first sports network born in Detroit and made for Detroit.
Woodward Sports would like to welcome the Winter Blast presented by Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort starting Friday, January 31st and goes through February 2nd in downtown Royal Oak. Ermanni and Edwards with Mass will be down there from 2 to 4 this Friday. Don't miss out on everything that is going on. They got free ice skating, ice sculptures, live music, heated tents, so don't worry, you won't freeze your ass off. There are roasting marshmallows, and you can't forget about the zip line. Hopefully we can try and get Maz on that zip line. Who knows? Maybe. And best of all, everything is free admission right there to get in, so you don't have to worry about that. For more information, go to winterblast.com, and we hope to see you this Friday.
Hey, welcome back to Wake Up Woodward Chat family. As always, you guys are the most important part of this thing. Go ahead and smash that like button. Let's get this day started off right. And you know what? We got to talk about these Detroit Pistons, who they are going to continue to play a bevy of what I call narrative games between now and All-Star break. By that I mean this: there's going to be point guards that we match up with who are directly in line for All-Star considerations or already starting the game. Like we saw the matchup with Brunson. We're going to see a matchup tonight against the first place Cleveland Cavaliers. But they are on a 3-game losing streak. This game is on NBA TV. I don't think that they intend to lose this one, and they are at home as well. So that's going to be an interesting matchup against J.B. Bickerstaff's old team, also the Pistons, who are coming off a loss to the Orlando Magic, and they weren't happy after that one, man. They weren't. 105. After that game, they had a lot to talk about, and Jonathan Isaac, he was the one, man. It was his comments that just kind of left me a little bit like, wow. 121-113 victory for those Magic, and you know what? Jonathan Isaac said that the Pistons are trying to brand themselves as like those tough guys, as those bullies, but that's not who they are. That's who we are. And in that game, you saw it get physical. There was a lot of people who felt like the way that the refereeing went wasn't necessarily fair to both teams. And we saw J.B. Bickerstaff do something for his squad that a lot of people continued to ask Monty Williams to do, and that's fight for his team. He even got thrown out the game. And if you guys have been tapped into either like the lip reading or the guy online with that account that gets you the audio, J.B. Bickerstaff has some interesting things to say to the refs on his way out, bro.
Yeah.
He went in, but they dropped this tough one. And Paolo and Franz, especially to Chase's point, man, they were the difference in that game. And Cade, he needed a little bit more help.
Yeah, I mean, shout out. Paolo and Franz are going to be a formidable duo in the NBA for many, many years to come, and they're both healthy. Paolo obviously had a long injury at the beginning of the year. He's healthy. Franz is healthy. Jalen Suggs is healthy. And just with the comments that Jonathan Isaac said, it sounds like the Pistons and the Magic are going to be a pretty fierce rivalry moving forward, and even to end the season. I mean, they're going to be jockeying for position. They've both been built largely through the draft in terms of we've seen with the Pistons drafting a Cade Cunningham. Jaden Ivey, who unfortunately went down, was playing the best ball of his career. Obviously, with the Magic, you got Paolo, you got Franz, you got Suggs. They've also supplemented their team with some veterans like Wendell Carter and KCP and the like, just as have the Pistons have done with Tim Hardaway Jr. and Malik Beasley. And Chase, how many points did Tobias score in that game?
2. In 17 minutes.
Had to put some chum in the water for you. But you know what? That's I'm not even close to acceptable.
No, not at all. Fuck
no. Put up, dogs. Talk about it, man.
I'm tempering. I'm keeping my mouth closed right now.
Go off, Chase. Go off.
I'm not happy with Tobias Harris on the Pistons, that's all I'll say.
I think it's more a role than anything. There are some things that, from the perspective of seeing them work in practices and all that type of stuff, where it is paying dividends. We're seeing some of these young guys showing a little bit more than some people might have thought they could. And this team is right now blowing through a lot of people's expectations. So from an intrinsic standpoint, I get it. From a play standpoint, I will be happy. You guys remember what I was saying. I wanted them to go out there and get somebody a lot more effective. This was going to be what we had to deal with when it was Tobias Harris. I thought that at the very least the shooting splits would be there. So to see those not be as reliable on a volume basis as he has been in the past, that to me is where it gets a little bit disappointing for Tobias Harris. But I at least as a vet, He is one of those guys. He is trying defensively, but I can't wait. I saw somebody else in the chat say, oh, you know what? Are you looking for the Pistons at the trade deadline to go after a power forward? Right now, I'm looking for a backup facilitator. Still looking for a backup facilitator. But listen, when they make that power forward decision, that's something that I think they're going to have to address in the offseason and probably go big or go home when you're talking about a power forward.
At least get double-digit rebounds.
What'd you say?
At least get double-digit rebounds.
Nope, can't even do that.
But listen, man, I do want to shout this out. Jerry Alexander put this in the chat. I wasn't going to say it, but since you put it in there too, I'm going to say it. The Pistons have clinched their first winning month since March of 2019. They're going to finish January with a winning record.
That's a big deal. And like for a team that has gone through so much, and for us fans who have witnessed so much bad basketball, that's a big deal. And I get it. Celebrating winning months is something that hopefully we're laughing at as Pistons fans in the coming months and the coming years. But right now, you kind of take anything that you can get. I think all of us, if we were given what are they, 23 and 22? If we were given that at the beginning of the season, we would have taken that and done
sixth
backflips.
Place right now.
100%. Any of us would have taken it. But that doesn't mean that losing to the Magic doesn't sting, and that it seems like there's going to be a bit of a rivalry between the two teams for years to come.
And you know what? That's just the way that we want it. But I do hope that as the Pistons continue on this unexpected season, that they do, as they approach this deadline, look to bolster this team just a little bit. They do need something at the four. Even if Tobias is going to be your de facto starter, they do need something at that four coming off of the bench, as well as a backup ball handler. I like Marcus Sasser as a combo guard. But again, I'm going to continue to be bullish on this. I'm going to continue to be consistent on this. They need another facilitator. You don't necessarily need to go out there and get another star, because I'm seeing some of the people that they're concerned with if the Pistons make a swing for another star-type player, even though Zach LaVine is off to a heater, they're concerned with what does that mean when you take the ball out of Cade's hand. And so a lot of people are more aligned with get one of those backup facilitators, just who do you go after? And there's some pieces there. The thinking is that a guy like C.J. McCollum might happily take more of a backup role, but still be able to provide you some plus facilitating potentially with the type of kind of usage, high usage that he's played with throughout his career. So it's going to be interesting to see where they go, but I do think that Orlando game highlighted that the Pistons do need a little bit more, whether it's at the four or a backup facilitator.
Yeah, and it's just unfortunate, and I don't want to play the excuse game because the Magic went through it early on in the season, had it as bad as anybody at the beginning of the year, but and some people are going to be really happy that I'm saying this, like Stick and WeCD313, but you could have used Jaden Ivey less in the Magic game. You just could have. You're looking at the Orlando Magic. They had all of their horses except Mo Wagner, of course, but they're two young stars. Your guy in Suggs, who's having really a resurgent breakout season after having some struggles at the beginning of his career. You needed a Jaden Ivey. He's the one who can be your backup ball handler and can facilitate as well. And he's just the basketball gods just didn't do us a favor there. It was a really fluky play that, of course, happened against the Magic. Yeah. Makes it even more cosmically just ball breaking.
That was tough, man. That one was tough, and you're right, because in those games where sometimes we would see Beasley didn't necessarily have a good game, when the few times that he did that, look at some of those games though. When Jaden Ivey played, Jaden Ivey stepped up, and we actually got some dubs, especially after that 0-4 start. Jaden Ivey started to step more into a kind of a high usage rate type player, especially when Cade went to the bench, even if a Malik Beasley was on the court. And the Pistons are missing that. He wasn't perfect, but you look at his stats, and Jaden Ivey took the necessary steps forward towards consistency. We all know he can go out there and drop 20 or 25 on you, but now we're seeing him go out there and consistently be a guy that was putting up 15 to 17 points, and we knew that downhill action towards the end of games. Think about some of the plays that they were even running to get him some actions, which even resulted in one game winner for Jaden Ivey. So that was one of those prototypical games last night where if you are an Ivy bro, to borrow from Flannel Sam, that's one of the ones that you kind of bottle up based on the way he was playing last night and say, yo, can't wait to get Ivy back. He is a vital and important part of this team. I believe that he and Cade Cunningham, I've always been bullish on this, are a good backcourt and one of the future that's going to cause they're going to wreak havoc on opposing backcourts. There were games this year that they won where Ivy and Cade were popping off for 40 and 50 points combined, and it's just you know what? They're going to have to find some way to make sure that they can fill that role or else it could cost them as it relates to if you're talking about 6 seed versus play-in.
Yeah, and that's a big difference because if you don't.
Difference.
And I know this is more of a technicality, but if you lose in the play-in where it becomes that marathon season and then a sprint, you technically didn't even make the playoffs in the annals of history. But hopefully the Pistons have enough. As Chase has said, the Magic getting healthier is going to be a obstacle, that is for sure. We see D313. Ivy, bro, I'm here. But you know what?
Yeah.
It's funny now how in a moment of snark, in a moment of sarcasm, I maybe started a fire that I want to put out because there should be no Cade haters and there should be no Ivy haters at this point. And I feel like at one point the fan base was a little split on who they like better.
Losing can do that, man.
Yes. Chase?
I think maybe all of like the people who were, a little anti-Cade, anti-Ivy can all kumbaya over Tobias Harris and just fuck you, get out of this town.
There you go. The real enemy. Go after the real problem. But no, 2 points.
Wheezy.
What did Wheezy do? Oh, there we go.
Suggesting the unsuggestible.
No.
Is it bad though that I'm not, and I was as big of a Killian hater as everybody, but I felt like I had to combat like the U's of the world and the Kuka heels of the world. But when I really had a chance to like think about it, it's like Killian on this team wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. It wouldn't.
He wouldn't, but
Weezy,
that was one of my bad
take that
takes
lap.
ever.
Take it.
Every now and then you just got to put the resume out there. Not everything works out as planned.
Got
I've
me
cooked things and it's worked out
Yes.
bad. The Killian one was one, but you know what? He's in the G League doing things, and I saw somebody pose this one question. They were like, yo, if you could take one guard out the G League right now, Killian Hayes or Bronny James, which one would it be?
Well, that's a dumb question. Obviously, Killian Hayes.
Killian's putting up triple doubles in the
What'd you say?
I saw Frank Kaminsky and Drew Timme going after it. Can we get them to replace Tobias Harris?
You
Oh my God. Frank Kaminsky and Drew Timme, talk about March Madness. Hey, they were damn good in college.
Hey, look, bro, I was one of the G League games I covered this year for the Motor City Cruise. You know who I saw out there cooking the cruise?
Who's that?
Jalil Okafor, former Piston legend.
That's what people
Cooking.
And this is no disrespect to the G League, but like I hear people say things about certain guys and say like, oh, he would average 5 points in the G League, like a Hunter Dickinson, for example. It's like, oh, no, Hunter Dickinson would murder in the G League. We just don't know if he's an NBA player.
I got a question for Chase.
Just as Jaleel Okafor.
Former Piston power forward, Jaleel Okafor. Would he cook Tobias Harris right now?
I don't know. I think they're equally as ineffective.
No. I'm big from it. Tobias he's been decent, man. Defensively, offensively is where it's just like you brought him here for that. I don't think anybody was like, Tobias for his defense. You brought him here for the intrinsic value, but the offense, and you want to see that pick up after the All-Star break is where I'm like, if that break doesn't help your old man knees kind of catch some type of revival, man, you're doing a disservice because they have enough.
I mean,
based on the projection, they got enough.
Jaleel Okafor could come in and put up 2 points for us. Like, I think he could do that. But like you said, we expect Tobias to be closer to like 16.
But then again, you're just expecting those 2 points from Jaleel Okafor. You're expecting a lot more out of Tobias.
That's the part.
Hey.
Offensively, you got to be real about it, man. Especially as we talked about Duren in the defense. And you know what? Being in that room and such, or some days I'm wondering, like, man, I wonder if they, and we know that they look at this stuff, and you walk in there, and what I saw to Duren was he continues to work to get better, and we see that in his game. Not that it's because of us, but because he wants to get better. Obviously, the team saw something as well, and they changed up how they even challenge him in these practices. And what you want to see when they're challenged is how they respond. He's responding both in practice and on the court, and I'm hoping that with Tobias Harris, that this is just something that's all right. You're getting chemistry. Now you're learning how to play off of Cade Cunningham, which should not be difficult. But after the All-Star break, don't you have to see something? Like,
of course.
But that's where I'm just like, look, I know it's not a championship-type season, but how do you, as you're sitting here right now in 6th place, how do you not go out there and make one of those bolstering moves? And you know what's interesting? We've seen some of these young teams do this. We've even seen the Raptors to a degree try and go out there and get that future wing, 3-4 wing in a who did they go and trade
Barrett.
for? RJ Barrett. But we also saw the Knicks go and they traded for OG Anunoby. We saw the Indiana Pacers go and they traded for Pascal Siakam. We know what the Miami Heat have down there. And so it's just like, you got to go out there and when you look at the trends of the NBA, this is the one thing. Even though I want them to go get that kind of point guard, if Tobias Harris is not going to be that guy, that's where I'm just like, you know what, Chase, you're dead to right. You got me. It's just like you got to go and do something. Like when you look at the Pacers and what helped to bolster them, it was the Pascal Siakam trade.
Where would they be without him right now?
We know that the last couple games they won against us, it wasn't even because, even though Tyrese Halliburton had the stats, looking at the flow of the game, who was dotting us every freaking big run?
Yep.
Miles Turner and Pascal Siakam.
And let's just call a spade a spade. Tyrese Halliburton has taken a step back this year. And don't get me wrong, he's still really good. And the Pacers right now, they're still above the Pistons in the standings, so I can't say too much. But you look at guys like a Pascal Siakam. You look at them getting back Benedict Mathurin and, of course, Miles Turner. I mean, there's a lot of supplementary pieces that need to go along with on a team for them to be successful. And speaking of supplementary pieces, Weezy D13, it's funny because I might have been the biggest Killian hater at the network for a while, but he's spitting some facts on some things.
Have we had bigger battles than that? Maybe the
No.
04 Pistons one? No, I think the Hayes one was bigger.
But, like, if Anthony Black can hoop, Killian can. Killian is objectively better than that bum.
Anthony Black, shout out to Anthony Black. He is connected to rank management. Ashton and those boys, but man,
I don't hate it.
I don't hate it. You know me. I think Killian Hayes is an NBA player, but there's something about between the ears with him. It was never the talent. Yeah. Whenever he got pissed, and for some reason, whenever he saw Trae Young, he saw red. But for some reason, we just couldn't get him to see that with the rest of the league. Sometimes whenever he would get pushed by De'Aaron Fox out against the Kings, he would see red. But for some reason, they just couldn't find a way to facilitate that against the other squads. When I saw him go in WWE knock out Mo Wagner, I thought, yes, the arrival. And then they suspended him. They said, you know what, we're going to let you off your suspension a little bit early. He probably should have been gone longer, but they let him come back for that Paris game, and it was never the same after that, bro. I don't know what ex-girlfriend showed up to that game and sat in the stands, but he's been shook ever since that game.
And that's the thing, because as much as we talk about
Goodness, they need a
how
backup facilitator. We talking about, hey,
well, that's the thing.
that's
like,
how bad it's been.
Like that's, but that's the circle of life, unfortunately. And a shout out to you, Weezy, and shout out to you, Shad, for having more foresight. I still believe that in a lot of ways, Killian has nobody to blame but himself. But at the same time, looking back and looking what this team needs now, I'm not pounding the table for it. It's like, how did we get rid of Killian? That's such an incompetent organization. I'm just saying that we could use his skill set as long as he doesn't shoot a lot of threes.
Hey, yeah, definitely. And I know we got to get into everybody's favorite segment as well. That is what's trending. But, hey, good conversation on really a lot of our teams. I've seen some people also, they're saying that we need to talk about the Tigers at some point. I know Tarek Skubal, he had some interesting comments, and maybe we get into those later. But he's saying that he would love, and he thinks that Alex Bregman would love, if the Tigers actually went and signed him.
Would you look at that?
Look at that.
Listen to the man.
Listen to him and also pay him as well. Please.
And pay Alex Bregman.
Just please.
Chris.
Is that so difficult? Like,
Open your wallet, Chris.
We might have to have a segment sometime. Is that so difficult? Hey, Skubal, Bregman, Flaherty. It's right there.
You saw me get shook for a second, like I was about ready to talk, and then I'm like, oh God,
because there for them, bro.
They would 100% win the AL Central if they did that. 100%. I know we'd have to let things play out, but I think they would be the favorites to win the AL Central if they did that. But the favorites for casinos and resorts, JB.
Oh, I got you. Open your wallet, Chris. Damn it. Told you so many times. Well, let me tell you, football's biggest game is right around the corner. Make sure you're ready to get the most out of your favorite sports with the best sportsbook made in Michigan for Michigan from Soaring Eagle Casino and Resort. Fund your online account with cash. No need to link your credit card or bank account, and get 100% deposit matchup up to $1,000 plus 50 free spins at the casino. Visit playeagle.com and look for Eagle Casino and Sports on your Android or Apple phone today so you can download the app.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles, and with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
How do people feel about getting a Planet Fitness membership for $15 a month? How do they like working out in a clean and spacious gym that's filled with equipment for every workout? And how about free fitness training in the judgment-free zone that leaves them feeling energized all day long? Join Planet Fitness today with the free PF app, online or in club, and start getting that big fitness energy for $15 a month.
We are the network for Detroit by Detroiters. Welcome to the Woodward Sports Network.
A Feldman Chevrolet, Detroit's #1 Chevy dealer. Since 1996, Feldman Automotive has been driven to provide a fast, convenient, and first-class car buying experience called the Feldman Advantage. With 18 locations of Feldman dealership in your backyard, visit feldmanauto.com to find the location nearest you.
Hey, what up, though, people? Welcome back. It's Wake Up Woodward. And you know what? Smash that like button for everybody's favorite segment. Let's get into what's trending, JB Smooth.
Let's do it.
And now it's time for the most electrifying segment on the internet. Bum, bum, bum. It's What's Trending with JB. Live on Wake Up Woodward.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jay Bizzle. Man, let's rock, brother.
Yo.
I couldn't hear the music, but
I didn't
either.
I was like, what is
Hopefully
going on?
our audience at home did.
Yeah, hopefully you guys heard it at home. Sorry about that. But I got some news for you guys. Despite, the Chiefs making it to the Super Bowl, you got to give some credit to the Eagles as well, too. But I got to ask you guys, because the game they played before against the Rams, they are apparently selling snow from that game. Is this a waste of $50? I just got to ask you guys.
Snow?
Yeah. It definitely is. And don't get me wrong, I get the romanticism about snow games, and I get why Philly's going to hold that game in high regard, but yeah, I'm not going to buy snow.
I'm not buying snow at all. This is wild. Well, my goodness. Wait till we're in this position and we're sitting here. We're sitting here after the Lions win some type of big game, and we're sitting here like, oh, we're going to the Super Bowl because they won in the snow. I might do it.
That's a good point. Ask me if I'm sentimental when it happens to Lions.
For Philly, I'm like, what the hell is this? But if it's the Lions, I'm probably sitting here like, hey, Stick, man, how many of these can we fit in the freezer over there?
I got Silverdome chairs in my basement, and I'm not above. I got Silverdome chairs in my basement. I'm not above buying snow. Not above it. I have Silverdome chairs, bro. Do you know what they won in the Silverdome? Nothing.
Oh, jeez.
But I bought the chairs.
Because I was about to say, Freddie Feld, I know he got the Palace of Auburn Hills chairs, but they've actually won something. You have Silverdome chairs.
Silverdome chairs.
That's a whole nother level of dedication, brother.
Yeah. Seat 1 and 2, row 54 for Chris Spielman. Shout out Chris Spielman.
Hey, that's dope.
Yeah, see, when you say it like that, it's dope. When you say I got Silverdome chairs, like, yeah. Saw a monster truck rally there once. I think Rick Ross performed there right when it was closing to 10,000 people. Looked like nobody was there.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Wow.
Amp Radio threw a concert there, and it was nobody.
Shout out.
Crazy.
Jeez.
How's everybody feeling today? No, keep rolling, JB. But I'd buy some snow.
Really? I probably would, man. As I thought about it, I probably would.
Girls can sell their farts in jars. You can buy some snow.
I mean, that's factual. I can't fault you for that. But $50 for some snow right there. Speaking of snow, You guys ever had or made a rookie mistake when you're going into your house after a late night? Probably not as bad as this.
Oh boy.
What are we about to see?
Oh, they left their windows down.
Been there.
And now they're inside of their car is just full of snow.
All of them,
with
though?
snow.
But all of them, though?
Hurry, put it in a bucket and sell it.
That is.
How do you make this
deflating,
mistake? Like, what
man.
were you doing? Were you in there just kind of, just having one of those jar sessions? Like, I'm just wondering, like, what the heck do you do that all 4 windows are down?
It's the dead of winter and all windows are down.
Are they in like the South somewhere and they just didn't understand how snow operates?
That could be in New Orleans, right?
Yeah, that's
remember
a
it
good
snowed
point.
out of nowhere there.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Chase, I'm gonna need you to find out where this place is.
Exact location. Give me the coordinates.
Goodness, that's pretty wild, bro.
Wow. No, that's a good point. It might be in the down south.
Have you ever done anything like this?
Not like that, no.
Not to that level.
I've left a window down, yeah.
I've left a back window cracked, and I came in one day, and it was just snow all in the back seat. I was like, oh, my word.
Trying to
bro.
air out the car after smoking. You leave a window down, get out. Next thing you know.
Damn.
Damn.
Just bad luck right there. And finally, I will end what's trending with this. Kool-Aid, I'm going to need you or Sam to get your son out here. Remember, this is flag football, bro. Chill.
Let's go.
Stiff arm.
Oh, snap.
Stiff arm.
He been watching Jahmyr Gibbs, man, on Winfield. What? Is he like punching? That's not even stiff arm, dog. He's swinging on him. So, these kids don't even got on helmets. He's just like.
Looked like Jalen Carter yesterday.
Goodness gracious.
Face.
Flannel, so you used to be a teacher, right? What are you doing if you see your little bad kids running around socking each other?
Oh, man.
I feel like Flannel set this kid up for that. He's like, you know what? Punch him and punch him.
Towards the end of my tenure, I would have probably just let it go because I was dead inside. At the beginning, I probably would have tried to play hero and like yell and everything, but I was never meant to be a substitute teacher. I will say that. This guy is getting getting his
face.
Kind of reminds me a little bit of Bradley Cooper's character of Sack Lodge in Wedding Crashers, taking it a little bit too seriously.
My favorite part about this is, the precursor to this was a mom being like, I'm just going to sign him up for flag football. He won't get hurt. And this kid just comes and pops his little son right in the face. You said he wouldn't get hurt playing flag football.
Here's how the last kid gets crumbled, bro. Look how he gets folded.
Hey.
One kid's just holding his face.
He just stops and holds his face. Hey, it's a bold strategy, Cotton.
Face.
Let's see if it pays off for him.
It's paying off.
Goodness. Like, I wonder who.
It's tough to tackle somebody when your eyes are running.
Yeah,
that's that to me looks like a mom is teaching the kid how to play football. Like, when you run by, just punch him.
Right?
Punch him. Like, if the pops is saying this, man, come on, bro.
Yeah.
Goodness. So
the second one's the best.
Yeah, he just stopped for holding
hit him with the left hook. The palm. Look at right.
Imagine the coach, he catches the player who's throwing punches and not the kid getting crumpled. Like, look at this last one.
Hey, man.
Yeah, that coach should be fired. It's malfeasance.
Malfeasance. That's hilarious.
But that's it for what's trending, you guys. Let's hop into some mailbag.
Hey, shout out to you, man. I know we read the Feldman read already. Do we have any more friends that we just gotta say what up though to? Or are we good to go?
No, we're good. We're good. Yeah.
Hey, you know what? Well, let's get into this Feldman Mailbag segment via Wake Up Woodward. Chat family, you guys have been on one today as well. If you didn't get an opportunity to, go on ahead, smash that like button. Let's continue to run it up and set the precedence for the day, man. We got Big D Energy, Ermanni and Edwards, and Woodward heavyweights after us. So shout out again to Stick and Neil for hosting the hate watch party yesterday for the NFC Championship game. We might have to do this for more, bro. There was 13,000 people who tapped in, a lot of likes and a lot of love.
It was crazy. Like, and Neil and I were talking about it before. Like, it's going to be a really interesting mix of people that don't want to watch the game, but they want to know what's going on. So this is kind of like a mild version of watching the game. There's going to be the Commanders fans who absolutely hate Neil, that want to hate watch Neil watch the Commanders potentially win. So we had a bunch of those people chiming in. it was just the football purists watching yesterday. And yeah, no, I mean, I'm going back. It was bigger than some of our watch parties for the regular season, like the Bears on Thanksgiving. So, and part of the reason I wanted to do it was, as you guys know, I feel I dropped the ball massively on the Michigan-Ohio State game this year.
Yeah, you were kicking yourself.
I still am, and I'll mention it 10 years from now that I fucked up by not doing a watch party with us then. And this one was just like, you know what? We should be doing every NFC championship game because eventually Lions are going to be in it again, and we need to set the tone that we're the place to go through for the NFC championship game. So that's programming-wise what we're going to be doing moving forward. End of story. Every NFC championship game we will be doing.
Hey, no, it was epic, man. It was epic, and
it was
cool
so casual. It was just fun. Like I had no emotional investment. I got really pissed during the fucking game, though, because the real Commanders actually showed up. Sandra still wasn't playing like Deion fucking Sanders, undercutting routes, intercepting them, falling down, intercepting them. What was he doing? He was getting his ass beat up and down the field by A.J. Brown. The return game, they're fumbling. Austin Eckler looked like he was 87 years old, which he actually is. Like, Jaden Daniels came back down to earth and looked like a rookie. A good rookie, but he looked like a rookie. Like, that was the Commanders team we were supposed to play. And that's who they are. That's who they are. Like, they're the team that lost to the fucking Cowboys this year. Not the team that showed up with their Superman capes on Saturday and made the Lions look like fools.
You're saying literally everything that I'd be screaming on the inside.
Go watch the watch party. You will see me progressively get more drunk and more pissed throughout the entire time because of it. I'm like, what is this? Oh, they fumble a kickoff. Where was that? We couldn't buy a turnover in that game. They were holding on to the ball tight. Jane Daniels rolling out right, just lofts it up. Kirby Joseph a fingernail late. De'Ami Brown catching it for 60 yards. This game, what's he doing? He's overthrowing guys. He's throwing it out of bounds. It was just like, oh my God. Like that, like, I didn't care as much as I did till yesterday because I thought the Lions lost to the better team. Like, Washington came in here, they smacked us up and down. They were the better team that day. I'm okay with losing to the better team. I am not okay to losing to the JV Commanders that showed their ass the next week. Like, this was bad.
Yep.
I wasn't even pissed. Was I pissed at all last week, guys?
Not really.
We were trying to take the loss in stride. We're fans that are learning what it means to be a team of expectations. Even having our coordinators poached, you know what? Hey, we're learning. But that game yesterday, that's why I even asked Flan. I was like, man, we might have to talk about the offensive impact of this thing. I know you said potentially tomorrow, Wednesday, because there are a lot of people, a lot of people who feel like you. We put the post out. And it was over 400 comments and 1.2 thousand likes and over like 80,000 views and engagements. 80,000, bro, within 12 hours.
Yeah.
We put it out at 6:30. By the time I looked at it at 6:30 this morning, so many people, and it was about what are your final words to Ben Johnson after seeing the Commanders and Eagles performance. So it was just like
the 60-yard run right off the bat was just a total smack in the face.
20 seconds.
After screaming all week long, run Gibbs more, first place, 60 yards down your throat. Oh my God. Like, it was just a perfect example of, like, the Lions just blew it. They just blew it. Nobody had a good game. Yes, that includes Jared Goff, but it also includes Graham Glasgow. It also includes Kirby Joseph. It also includes the entire defense. It also, like, there's so many facets. The one play everybody goes to about the fumble on 3rd and 1. 4 major things went wrong on that play for it to be a perfect storm like that. Amon-Ra slips coming out of his break. That's one. That causes Jared Goff to hold it a little longer. Graham Glasgow misses his block. Jared Goff steps up in the pocket to Ragnow's missed block and gets hit, and then Jared Goff fumbles the ball. All of those things had to happen for that perfect play because this was the same game that was going on with the Lions. The Lions were about to go up 14-3, just like the Philadelphia went up 14-3. But that fumble changed everything. Now I'm really sad. That game yesterday, like, if it would have been a good game, I would have been like, oh, man, Commanders are legit. But they're not legit, and I don't want to be a Vikings fan either and clown on them for getting further than us. They beat our ass.
Yeah. in our home.
Yeah, they did. I will give them that credit. I can't deny what I saw with my eyes, but I also can't deny what I just saw this weekend was, man, the Lions blew an opportunity.
I tried to put it a little bit different way of feeling more bullish about the Detroit Lions, even with the changes going on. I feel a whole lot more bullish about them. I know what we have. I feel like it's just a philosophical change, and honestly, as simple as Dan Miller said it, it was just their worst game of the season, or at the worst time to have it. It was less indicative of what the consistency of this team is going to be moving forward, or even looking beyond it. It was just like the perfect storm for the Commanders.
Yeah, and it's even like the Terry McLaurin screen pass for a touchdown, right? Their offensive coordinator called the perfect call for the branch blitz off the edge. You're leaving 2 defenders on 3 wide receivers, and then Kirby Joseph whiffs on the tackle down the field, like as he splits 2 defenders miraculously. Like it was. It's now hurting me more than it did last week.
Irv got in the chat. Come on, Stick. I'm getting triggered again. How did we effing lose to the Commanders, man?
Yeah. Well, Chase was talking about it earlier in the show. It's a stage of grief. Like, I wasn't in the anger stage at all last week. I don't want to say denial, but I wasn't like I honestly thought we lost to a better team last week.
And then I came away a little bit more like, can we run that back? Y'all got time to run it back real quick? Like, that's how I feel, and I feel like we were left
a whole
with no
season,
basketball.
A whole season gone in 60 minutes.
That's what it feels like. It's like when everybody's ready to go, and they just take the ball and they go home, and you can't play no more. And it's just like, but I know what I can do. Now we got to wait. Like you said, the season's gone in 60 minutes, and now you got to wait until next year. And you know what? I am more bullish about this team, Flannel. I am. I'm ready to go. Like, I wish that we could go and run that back right now.
Yeah, they just can't perform like that in the playoffs again. That's all.
Ever.
It's a different game.
Ever.
Yeah.
Not at all,
Ever.
man.
And that's the crazy thing. It's just one playoff game, but it's like, well, now Dan Campbell hasn't won a playoff game in 2 years going into next year's playoff. Like, the narrative just starts to become heavy, and then you become Josh Allen, who can't get it done in the playoffs. You become Lamar Jackson. All these unfair narratives.
Become the 49ers.
I like to throw it around just to combat people like, oh, well, Josh Allen choked. I mean, like, hey, if Jared Goff choked, Josh Allen choked.
It's different, dude.
It is?
Yes.
Did Josh Allen have the ball down 3, ready to score and take the lead? He had a chance to win the game.
He did.
Did he do it?
No, Dalton Kincaid had something to do with that.
Well, thank you.
But you act like it's the exact same thing as the Lions and Jared Goff losing at home a round earlier by double digits, while him having 4 turnovers. It's not the same thing. It's not everybody who lost choked.
Did he get it done in the crunch time moment? Yes or no? At the end of the day, this is a pass-fail thing, right? Did he pass or fail?
I mean, they lost, so
he failed.
But I don't blame him as much as other factors. That's all. I actually blame who deserves to be blamed.
Did you guys address the refs with Flannel?
Well, a little bit.
A little. We didn't bring
Did you press him on it?
I mean,
I need to hear the Slappy's take on it.
No.
That 4th down, that was a clear first down, right, Flannel?
I understand.
Was it?
But
yes or no?
I don't know.
Okay, you're lying.
It was like it was called the field stands. I'm just saying, though.
Don't hide behind that. From your eyes, what did you see?
Looked like a first down.
Okay.
But Stick, to like kind of further what you were saying about Josh Allen and the Bills, when it came down to winning time, the Chiefs made all of the plays that the Bills weren't able to do, just like they always do. They drove down and kicked a field goal. They iced the game with 2 first downs through the air.
Well, it's easy when you get extra possessions.
Well, I mean, so are
do
you
you think they would have had they picked up that 4th down? Because that changed the whole game. That's when Kansas City went down the field. Okay, then let's talk about the Dalton Kincaid drop where there was a flag on the field and they picked it up after he dropped it.
That's conspiratorial. Are you acting like if you would have caught that, they would have called a holding? Is that what you're saying?
Are you telling me there wasn't a flag indicator up when that?
There was a flag indicator,
and then it went away after he dropped the pass.
All right, fine. The
no,
Chiefs
I'm just saying, did that not happen?
7-10 non-playoff team if the refs didn't give them every call, right, Stick?
I'm just going through what happened yesterday. I'm not going history. I'm talking yesterday.
Fine.
I just want to see how real you're going to be about this.
I'm just saying that like the Chiefs are going to their 5th Super Bowl in 6 seasons, and you got to give them respect for that.
No, I know.
No respect for that.
It
no
was tough
respect.
because the one thing I know is this. It's like if the Lions weren't now the team, one of those teams that we see other fans saying the same stuff about, I probably would have pushed back. But I got kind of tied up because I was like, Man, I kind of like this though. Like, we've seen the Lions, at least what fans think out there, believe that they're the beneficiary of this, even though they only received one freaking pass interference to their benefit all season. That's insane to me when you got burners like Jameson Williams and pass catchers like we saw Tim Patrick and Amon-Ra St. Brown and Sam Laporta.
And that's fair.
Pretty wild to me.
We heard that from Vikings fans and Packers fans, right? But you didn't hear it nationally. You didn't hear the commentators calling the game like, "Wow, there's another one for," like you didn't.
That's fair.
Like there's levels to this, right? We just got accused by our enemies.
Our rival
Everybody
crime.
that has eyes knows that they're getting calls, which is fine. They've earned them. Whatever. I don't really care. I just want to press flannel on that. But it was good football. I was so happy to see a good football game last night.
I mean, they've been getting calls for years. I still go back to that 5th down they got against the Bengals 3 years ago. Like that game was just full of just insane calls against and for the Chiefs, and I think Ron Tolbert's one of the worst referees in the NFL.
That's fine, though, but Burrow threw 2 picks and Mahomes threw 0. Joseph Azai pushed Patrick Mahomes out of bounds. They allowed a really bad punt return, so things happen. And
what about Travis Kelce going up and mocking and celebrating right in the Bills player's face, and then when he gets pushed, the flag goes on the Bills?
That's
what about
fine.
that one?
It always goes to the second person. It always does. That's the tales all the time.
He was the second person.
All right.
That play had nothing to do with Travis Kelce. It was Mahomes getting tackled, then Kelce ran in.
You do realize you guys are making me root for the Chiefs 10 times harder.
No, honestly, in full disclosure, I find myself rooting for the Chiefs when games get close. I do. I go in with no expectation. Last Super Bowl, did not want San Francisco to win at the end. And then yesterday, I found I want the three-peat to happen just so we can be done with the Chiefs and the Lions can start to take over.
I love it, dog. I love it. And you know what? Just another more tidbit when we're talking about refs. Louisville was fined pretty big for a couple different plays against the Lions, including that hit.
Dog, though.
That hit against Jared Goff, which they did say should have been flagged as well. There's so much that has gone down in that game, man. When you talk about referees, you know what? The Lions actually came out on the short end of the stick against the Commanders, but you don't cry about it now. You just got to go out there and be better. And when you talk about the additions or the promotions of guys like Kelvin Sheppard to DC, Hank Fraley, staying on as offensive lines coach, but getting an upgrade as it relates to run game coordinator.
Yeah.
You know what? Still OC left to be filled, but I'm excited about what this organization is doing. They brought in some good pieces. And you know what? I think that they're starting this path back towards Super Bowl expectations next season off right.
I mean, Louisville almost single-handedly gave away 6 points right there with that leaping over the line twice.
We can reward
and
a
the
touchdown.
referee is like, hey, we can reward the other team a touchdown if you keep doing this. Chill out.
Did you see the meme of Patrick Mahomes finding out that the refs could award points? He was like,
I also saw that one where people just posted that clip and said the Chiefs get away with everything.
Yeah. Dude, Louisville, let's say this. Louisville was a dog. He was the only commander to show up yesterday.
Bro,
that guy's an
Lions,
animal.
Yeah. He's one of those guys. Like, I hate him on the other team, love him if he was on our squad.
Former rugby player turned football player.
JB?
Beast.
You remember when I gave love to Frankie Louisville when I was mocked?
Who mocked you?
Elgato said
Jeff
Lions
and
need a
Lucas.
Louisville.
Oh, well, they don't know ball.
No, shout out to them.
They don't know ball, especially Lucas.
It's just like a running joke with me and them, like Frankie Louisville.
I got a carpet guy here, so we gotta get out of here.
Hey, you know what? Let's get this chest pass going and let's rock. Yeah, that's one right there. Hey, chat family, as always, you guys are the most important part of this thing, and we appreciate you guys for choosing to kick off the day with the WUW Crew, man. And you know, we got to talk about some victories, we got to talk about some losses, and it's interesting with those Pistons as well, because we get to talk about if they lose. This has been a team this year that's shown resiliency. Losses happen. Let's see how they bounce back. Red Wings continue to build on what you've built on. Tigers, listen to Scooble, please. Please, just go ahead and sign Alex. Yeah, just listen. What'd you say, brother?
I said, spend some money, Chris.
Spend some money, man. Spend some money. And you know what? Those Lions, they make some moves. We're going to talk a lot more about kind of the implications this week as we go on ahead. And I can't wait. So, shout out to our brother Matthew Broder, that dude Justin, KG, Detroit's #1 draft pick. We miss you, bro. And you know what? To break this thing down to the sound booth, we got Cavassier Chase, Chase GPT, Spicy Chase. What up, though, brother?
What up? Yeah, I'm KG's Detroit's number 1 draft pick. What am I, like Detroit's number 1 undrafted free agent then?
Yeah, we'll do that, man.
What's up, guys? Hope you guys are having a good day. Like I said, we're getting through the tough feelings of what could have been, but stay tapped in. Big D coming up in 47 minutes. We got Ermanni and Edwards and Heavyweights wrapping up the day, so stay tapped in. You guys know where the best Detroit sports talk is here for you. Tap into Woodward Sports, and shout out my dad. Shout out Woodward. Shout out Seymour Ford.
Hey, and you know what? I've seen a lot of the regulars from Tabitha to Phil to Randall Smalls, Mike G, Mike Danye, Xavier
Shout out
D,
Tabitha.
C-Note. I'm seeing some, and even some new people that are just sticking around. Skydog, I see you, man. Mike G, and others that are in the chat, man. Shout out to you guys for all you do. Woodward Sports MVP, though, in the TD booth. JB Smooth. What up, though, brother? Great show.
Hey, another great show. We're just starting a week off. I know everyone's probably a little depressed given that the NFC Championship game we had to witness yesterday and how the Lions should have been in it, but never fear. Be right back next season. So keep the faith. Keep the faith. And we will as well, too. Stick around for the rest of the shows on the network as well today. They're going to be great. So just stay tapped in.
Hey, I can't wait. Eric Allen, we see you. He said, great show, boys. We appreciate you, man. We got Flannel Sam over here, the vet of the squad, vet of the network, all sports knower, Red Wings correspondent. Great show today, bro.
Yeah, I mean, the Super Bowl matchup is set. So we're going to... That's all. That's it. That's done. And I think for the foreseeable future, going to be focused a lot on the Pistons and the Red Wings, especially if they both make playoff runs. That would be a magical April of the D with sprinkling in a little opening day for the Tigers, and then the draft. Unfortunately, won't be here this year, but we could have a lot going on between now and April.
Hey, let's
We
rock.
need some healing. Please,
Absolutely.
Pistons, Wings.
Absolutely.
Just
We
make it.
do. We do, man. Oh, my goodness, man. If both of them get playoffs here in the city, that's with a couple games, at least for both of those teams, minimum. And the Pistons, I kind of like their chances as an upset favorite if they get one of those top 6 spots. I really do.
Oh, you're talking about a top 6 spot. I
If
thought
they
you were
get
talking
top,
about tonight.
Top 6. No. Just overall, top 6. Tonight, I do. I think that they're going to be mad. I think JB Bickerstaff is... He's one of those guys that seems to take this thing very, very personal and got that fire and that spunk to see him out there fighting even a refs. Like, he had some choice words to say on his way out, dog. And I'm just like, you know what? That's why we see a lot more fight out of this team. It's almost a reflection of who's at the helm right now as coach, as well as those vets, because they fight too. Seeing Malik Beasley go is dope.
If we get the Knicks in round 1, we're penciled into round 2 automatically. We're penciled into round 2.
Durant better get those 10 rebounds. I'm just saying. I'm a little upset
He's
about
even
that.
closer to averaging a
personal
double-double.
vendettas.
Yeah, I'm just saying. 2 rebounds away from $200. Thanks for costing me that.
0.2 rebounds per game away from averaging a double-double. He's almost there.
Get you that double.
Almost there. Get there,
Be
man.
that walking double-double.
Hey, it's your boy Brandon Dan, a.k.a. Detroit Kool-Aid, your credential Pistons reporter and writer for the network. We appreciate you guys for kicking off today. Once again, if you haven't gotten the opportunity to, hit that like button for us. It goes a long way. Have a great day, man. Most importantly, it's been Wake Up Woodward.